be hoisted into the air. There are no limits for East Fremantle in 1994. The Sharks are here, and through the banner they go. They won it back in 1992, and they're going to be very hard to beat today as they go into this game, coming off the big preliminary final win. Kenny Judge looks concerned as Bomber lets attack back to back. The Tigers are with us now, defending champions from 1993, and only about 11 players have survived to make it here to this game in 1994.
And I noticed that Stephen Edgar is there for East Fremantle, and I couldn't see Simon Moss, so I reckon the teams maybe have got them right.
Sam Cronje and Greg Scroop, the umpires for our grand final today. Two very experienced umpires, and I think they'll do a fine job in what could be, Les, a fairly torrid game at times this afternoon. I expect a lot more intensity from East Fremantle than we saw in the second semi-final.
Yes, TJ, you would certainly expect that. As I said, grand finals is what it's all about, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm sure that the East Fremantle side and Claremont side are just going to go hell for leather to start with. The side that settles down first initially and gets rid of those little bit of nerves will be the one that maybe gets firstly on top. But it should be a terrific spectacle here today.
And there it is. Condon straight away into Morgan. And it had to happen, and there'll be a free kick in the goal square in a moment. They're not careful.
So a fight before the game is underway. Condon and Morgan, and Condon obviously instructed to let Paul Morgan know that he's not going to kick 8 goals today if he can help it. And Clem's letting Condon know that now too.
He's a tough little man, that Darren Clem, so it's just said, and so is Amirante for that matter, so that'll be a good tussle. As predicted, Paul Harding has actually lined up on Joe Smith. I said Ken Judge can use him anywhere. So he's obviously put the pressure on Paul Harding, who's an experienced player and actually should be able to hold the fort there for East Fremantle.
So a few fireworks before the start of our 1994 grand final. Umpire Greg Scroop will get this game underway very shortly. And it's got the crowd fired up too. Justin Sanders concentrating on this bounce. His opponent, Clint Wolfe. The grand final's underway. Big tap by Sanders. Congestion of players just outside the circle. And look who's under there, Steve Malaxos.
Edwards, Croxford and Brayshaw on the bench for Claremont.
We could see a very fiery start here. Wolfe and Sanders again, both leap high. Sanders down to McManus. Sharks will break out of the middle. Not a good kick by McManus. Lands on Durkay's chest though on the bounce. Bursting through the middle of the pack there was Edgar. Good kick to full forward. Punched away by the Tigers' defence. Lockyer shovels it out. Capewell snaps straight into Panizza. And that's off his body and over the line and out of bounds. But the Sharks on the attack early.
There's the interchange bench from Claremont. With Croxford, Edwards and Brayshaw from nearest to the camera. 25 metres out from the Sharks' goal. They'd love the first score. Sanders down there. Terrific tap. The Bilsich kick is smothered. And then there's a free kick picked out, and it's going to the Claremont defence. Clinton Wolfe hand passes off to Werra quickly. Well tackled. That's how the Claremont players get themselves into trouble sometimes, with overuse of that handball. Able to force behind the first score to the Sharks.
I think Brad Werra was fairly fortunate there. Didn't really make an effort to try and get rid of the ball.
Panizza kicks in, and Bradley Smith has led away on that occasion. And away goes now with a bounce on the left boot to half forward. Sheldrick's in the true centre half forward position, but went without it. Wardell Johnson got the ball back to him, and Trelevin intercepts, gets it to Sanders, who should have used the option ahead of him, which was Edgar, but instead went to Anderson, who went too short with that kick. Intercepting was McGovern, who goes off to Leach.
Quentin Leach, runner up in the Sandover medal, kicks to wing on the outer side of the ground. Davies and Mitchell get tangled up. Umpire says free kick. And it's going to Claremont. Going to East Fremantle, rather, in Glenn Davies. This is McManus now. Backward of the centre circle. Good-looking kick to centre half forward. Abbott in front. Punched away, but Abbott hangs on. Mark has been paid. Capel wants to play on. But Paul Abbott, who took numerous marks against West Perth last week. Good, strong pair of hands. Jones, the attempted spoil. Abbott paid the mark.
And the extra big man lays in the forward line for East Fremantle with Jeff Davidson.
Yes, as I said, it was going to be interesting to see how this pans out. As I said, Abbott
spiral torpedo is a beauty. We'll wait on it. One behind only. Gee, it must have been over the post. Crowd roared. But a beautifully delivered torpedo. You don't see them too often. Not covering that distance with accuracy.
So the kick into play. Wide. Jones had led away on this occasion from Abbott, who kicked that last behind. And then he uses the ball well, the youngster, but Brendan Green there going one-handed, maybe thinking he was too close to the line. There's Mark Riley. Nervous start for his first grand final as coach. Peter Jamison sitting alongside him, his chairman of selectors. McManus trying to burst through. Sanders went for the tap and then got down to the ground.
He's won about 5 clear taps at the moment, Justin Sanders, and Clint Wolfe is going to have to lift his rating.
His second efforts are terrific, Justin Sanders. He goes to the same side as Wolfe, wins that tap, back in the direction of MALAXOS. Murillo was with him, and he will be all day, one would suggest. But the former Claremont player was down first for that ball and won the free kick from umpire Sam Cronje. And centre half forward the kick now. Over the back, Chisholm floating, but Leach, who waited on the ground, disciplined football, and then has good composure, boots to the centre from Murillo, punched away by MALAXOS. Wolfe on the Sharks' crest and then delayed the hand pass beautifully. Terrific football, Clinton Wolfe. Brendan Green then over-kicked his full forward and Condon marked.
Damien Condon, shades of the state game this year with that mark. Beautiful mark and a pinpoint pass to Sanders. Pointed the square defensive side. That's a flower bag, punt to half forward. Punched away from Durkay by Leach. In goes Wolfe back to Leach. Caught there by Amirante. Now Clem gets it away towards Jones. He accelerates away. Gets a hand pass upfield. Tigers on the attack again here. That's Holmes giving it away to McGovern. McGovern long kick to an open goal square. Condon going back. Juggles it. And one behind the result. Off his hands.
Well, I think we've seen already what I mean a little bit about Claremont's foot speed. As I said, certainly Jones is going to cause problems at centre half back there. If Abbott's not going to watch him, he'll run off him hard. And you've got Quinton Leach, who, as we know, always will push up hard up the ground. So we've seen that twice in the last 2 attacks by the Claremont players.
So both teams have been into attack now 2 or 3 times, but no goals on the board yet as Amirante, deep in his own defensive area, goes to the members' side.
So right half back, and Pobjoy drudged that very well in front of Joe Smith to take the mark. Plays on quickly. East Fremantle's dog, terrific mark to Capewell as the Sharks will try and get the ball forward quickly. Well judged. Now Capewell plays on quickly. This is to Lockyer. He's got an option here with MALAXOS. Either one could have marked that ball. And MALAXOS took the mark. And there's the angle. He'll kick from 50 metres. Good capture from the veteran. So he's just about in the players' race, in the players' dugout there. And the distance would just about trouble him, I think. And he's looking around, as you can see, and he's going to pass this ball. And he's done that.
Very loose checking by the Tigers' defence, Les.
Oh, very, very poor then, TJ. As I said, Steve MALAXOS, experienced player, just held the ball, waited. And obviously the Claremont players obviously thought that Steve was going to have a shot for goal, but Popjoy did well.
We knew from his look in his eyes that he was going for a pass, didn't we? They didn't see that. The camera work of the ABC, terrific. Popjoy's kick is true, and the Sharks have the first goal on the board, the 1994 Grand Final.
Well, well done to East Fremantle then. A series of good foot passes, starting from Condon at fullback, who brought that into Amirante. Amirante then found Sanders, who then moved the ball out to Popjoy. Popjoy was the one that actually got the ball down to MALAXOS, then pushed down the ground. Cunning Stevie, experienced MALAXOS, held the ball, got it to Popjoy, and he's kicked that goal from a good 45 metres out. And that's a good result for East Fremantle, who seemed also, as I said, really are willing and able at this stage this week.
It's on again in the centre. Wolfe beat Sanders that time, down to Murillo. He tried to go back to Wolfe, and he's got to follow it up. McManus into Murillo's back, and he'll take the free kick. Good running link man. Gives it away to McGovern. He's cornered. Has to change direction. Kicks it straight to MALAXOS. Stolen though by Wolfe. That was well done. Long kick towards full forward. Wardell Johnson is there. Knocked away into the pocket to Clem. He goes by hand to Smith. Back to Clem. Deep in the right full forward pocket. The snapshot on its way. We'll wait on it. I think he's just missed. One behind only. Not a bad attempt though by Darren Clem. He was on a very acute angle in the pocket. Tigers look dangerous when they do go forward. The kick back into play finds Paul Harding for his first touch of the match. And Ken Judge will be hoping he gets plenty more. That's a good kick. Amirante at half back now. Sanders offers the lead upfield. Amirante goes in that direction. Wolf is with him. Up goes Wolf, destroys. It goes to the back of the pack. Chisholm's there, knocks it away from Bilsich. Jones is there with McManus. They wrestle for it. And the umpire coming in to bounce it down at left half forward for the Sharks. On the move again into the forward area.
There's Sean McManus. Wolf to do the ruck work. Sanders wins the tap. Murillo will get there first for Claremont. Tackled strongly. Now MALAXOS can take possession. He went back by hand to McManus, who scrambles it towards the 50-metre attacking line. Down comes Barge. That's Lockyer. A hand pass from Peniza was meant for the line and found it in front of Bilsich. Daryl Peniza, the veteran. Interesting match-up with Amirante again, picking up Darren Clem at the other end of the ground when he was beaten by him badly in the second semi-final. The Wolf using his body. Down goes Davidson to the ground with the football.
I was wondering how long Wolf and Sanders will be able to keep going. The both of them have been in everything thus far, and it should be one of the real contests of the game.
27 degrees. It's difficult for ruckman to kick. This tap down to Davidson. He scrambles it towards the goals, but well offline as he shakes his head ruefully. The man they call Jock. And the kick back into play to be taken by Daryl Peniza. Full back right. The Subiaco end of league headquarters here. Wonder whether this will be Daryl Peniza's last game. Boots the ball towards half back right. Murillo was high from behind. That allowed crumbs to his opponent MALAXOS, who went back by hand to Stagg, in turn to Davidson. Now Lockyer a chance. Took a long time to turn around and then didn't take clean possession. Capewell, East Fremantle have got the numbers. They've got a play loose in the goal square as well. Durkay takes it now and goes short and wide to MALAXOS. It's not going to find that player, but McManus is there. Finds it well. Bilsich is in the square by himself. Has been there for an eternity. Finally they got the ball to him and he finished it off.
Well, good persistent work by East Fremantle there. They kept working away, trying to get the ball, trying to set Lockyer down hard, hit the ball hard. Could be the big fella do that. Durkay has split the ball. He did miss Edgar initially. McManus had a number of touches.
Maybe the inexperience of Scott Chisholm have picked him up.
10.5 minutes gone. 2 goals in favour of the Sharks. The difference between the two teams at the moment. And Sanders is winning everything in the middle of the ground. This man is dominating McManus. Goes towards full forward. MALAXOS, tremendous courage. Couldn't quite hold the mark. And Leach mops up and with a good kick finds Murillo. He'll play on quickly. Confronted by Sanders. Changes direction, uses the left foot and goes out wide to Scott Edwards. Breaks the tackle. Goes by hand. Sheldrick. Players come off as McGovern's. The kick goes to full forward. And the mark has been taken by Wardell Johnson. Looks as though McGovern's in trouble.
Ankle, I think, TJ.
But the Tigers move it very quickly when they go down the ground. And now Wardell Johnson, 45-degree angle. Tigers need this. He's only 20 metres out. He's put it straight through the middle. Tremendous crowd behind the goals at the city end of the ground. And that's a confidence booster for him. 11 lets him know that he's on the ground as well. Oh, gee, these Sharks are fired up today, but the Tigers kicked there first. They're 1-2-8. The East Fremantle 2-2-14. As this kick came in nicely. Look at the strong work there by Edwards, Les.
Yes, he is a very, very strong player. Sheldrick, obviously the handball wasn't good, but then he had the wisdom to sort of look up quickly and find Wardell Johnson, who's gone back, as I said, a young player himself. Showed certainly no signs of any pressure there. Just went back and leisurely put it through for Claremont's first goal, and a much-needed one.
I'm enjoying this grand final, Trev. This is a beauty so far.
Terrific standard of football in very good conditions. East Fremantle try and barge it forward again. Holmes on the ground. Amirante tries to take possession. And barging through was Jones. He went nowhere. Look at the tackling and the pressure in there. Finally it emerges to Stagg from Pobjoy. On the left foot he goes to full forward. Punched away by Wirra. Good defensive football. And Claremont have the numbers now. Chisholm went backwards to Clem. He'll make a difference to them on the ball. Scott Edwards taps away. This is Chisholm. who's got some space out there, likes to compose himself before he kicks and does it well. Went to Wirra, who really should have marked that football and allowed McManus to take possession, but then he kicked it into the new grandstand out there. Not a good kick from Sean McManus then. And there's the footy for the workman tomorrow. Short pass. Claremont retained possession on the outer side with Gavin Mitchell on right centre wing. Joe Smith the lead. Tapped away from Edwards by Paul Harding. Finally comes to Jeremy Sheldrick and then to Gary Edwards, who's just on the ground replacing McGovern. He's a renowned goal kicker, is Gary Edwards. But whenever you say that, that's what happens.
Yeah, he called that one a bit early, Trevor, but you're right. It certainly should have been a goal then.
Condon's kicked to half-back. Popjoy, and from behind Murillo. Neither could bring down the mark. Murillo the best to recover. Caught. Loses the ball, and a good strong tackle there from Capewell. Again, Popjoy goes in very hard on Edwards. And the umpire comes in to bounce it down. Clem diving in underneath the pack. But some very good tackling there from both sides. The ball's at left half forward for the Tigers. Good use of the body by Wolf. Nobody's going anywhere there. Claremont a 1-2. East Fremantle a 2-2. After 14.5 minutes in this first term. Entertaining game so far. Wolf uses his body, tries to take possession. Tackled by Sanders. Edgar and Wardell Johnson. Was he tripped, Wardell Johnson? Not according to the umpire. Murillo gets around Edgar. Scrambles a kick towards half forward. Gary Edwards has it knocked away by McManus. He's in everything, Sean McManus. Now Stagg soccers it on. Burrows, all going in hard there was Jones. McManus felt that. Back comes Jones, dispossessed by Burrows, but recovers quickly. And away he goes. Good speed by Jones. Kicks towards full forward. And taking it down there is Morgan. Breaks the tackle of Condon from an acute angle. Chips a goal and misses.
Well, again, a terrific build-up by Claremont, getting that ball down there. As I said, certainly, I mentioned Anthony Jones is going to cause problems there. He's amazingly quick for a big fella.
There's already changed there, I think, yes. Les. I think Burrows has come on the ground against him.
Burrows has snuck onto the ground, I noticed.
Which means Abbott is off. So Burrows well down the ground at the moment with Jones hanging back. Condon undecided where to kick the football.
Abbott's
and he's
hurt,
being told to kick it.
I think Abbott's got a hand injury or a wrist injury.
And Andrew McGovern also off the ground. This is Burrows, who is a centre half forward. He throws it wide for Edgar. It's going to beat everybody over the line.
I think East Fremantle at the moment trying to make a move. Burrows seems to be pushing back to the back line yet again.
Yes, he's...
Paul Harding might be sliding up eventually, possibly.
Comments there from Les Fong is Justin Sanders. The ball scrambled to Craig Burrows, but the opposite number, Ruckman, takes the mark. That was Wolf. He got the hand pass off to Leach quickly. I've been impressed by his running ability today so far and his linking up ability. It goes to half forward for Claremont. Good thump away by Trelevan. This man is strong in the body, Gary Edwards. He got it to Sheldrick, who in turn looks for Gavin Mitchell. That was Davies, who was grabbed without the football, though, by the Claremont player. And Glenn Davies kicks short and wide, finds Jonathan Stagg, who electrified everybody in previous finals this year in terrific form. He overkicked the target there, Paul Harding, and got it to Gary Edwards marked as Paul Harding swiveled and complained bitterly about the kick. It wasn't well executed. Gary Edwards boots towards half forward, but the mark there is taken by Condon, and the free kick's going to be picked out to Joe Smith. No, it's to Burrows against Joe Smith.
Not sure whether East Fremantle have picked up what's happening yet, but they have no one at centre half forward.
Well, Sanders is marked. He can use himself as the alternative. The hand pass came off from Amirati to Stagg, and the youngster held onto the ball too long, but finally got it back to Davies. They're using the handball a lot, East Fremantle, as now it comes to this centre half forward position, and there's the numbers. Jones doesn't have an opponent at the moment. He barged through Stagg. That allowed Clem to take possession. Should have got a free kick. He got the hand pass to Jones. Good tackle, Amirati, and holding the ball, a decision. And that's been a feature of East Fremantle's play. Away they go again.
Good decision, I thought, by Scroop. Stagg kicks to full forward. Lockyer in front. He's been paid by umpire Cronje. He can kick this. He's 55 metres out. There's no doubt he won't get the distance, but he's not going to try. He chips into the pocket, and Harding is marked 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle, maybe a little worse.
And a great call, Les Fong. Paul Harding is the centre-half forward. He drifted up there, and Anthony Jones wasn't aware of it.
Yes, a nice little ploy. I thought East Fremantle may have been confused initially, but maybe they did know what they're doing all the way along.
Paul Harding now. And you look, Paul Harding. No troubles with the distance. Drop punts on the way. Not a bad-looking kick. It's a goal. Tremendous kick by Paul Harding. I made a very fatal mistake in one game earlier in the year, Les, saying he mightn't get 50 metres. That was 45 metres. He let me know that day that he can kick 50 plus. But I thought 45 was going to be no trouble.
That's no, not for Paul Harding. And I said it before the game that Harding could be a key where he can be moved and used in a number of positions. We've already seen him start at centre half back, now at centre half forward. And he said he certainly caught the Claremont players out there. And Lockyer, great mark from Lockyer. That's how he played last week.
The Sharks are here to play football. Sanders is dominating. Wolf doing some good things around the ground, but at centre bounces it's been Sanders, as it's tunnel ball back there by Holmes. Coming down to meet it with good courage there was Sheldrick. He ran into MALAXOS, and the ball underneath there somewhere. There's Jeremy Sheldrick, 31. For Claremont.
East Fremantle's last goal made by the great tackle of Mark Amaranti.
Wasn't that a magnificent tackle?
So the tap away there. MALAXOS couldn't handle it. The feedback hand pass comes to Brendan Green, now to Holmes. And he should be able to do something constructive. He had one opportunity to kick it. He got it to Gary Edwards finally. Good punch away there from Burrows on Smith. It's a test for that youngster now. The hand pass from Treleaven to Burrows, then back to Davies. And then the tap back from Burrows to Treleaven. Finally, they find Stagg on the outer side of the ground.
It was a bit fancy, wasn't it?
It was, overusing the ball. I don't think Ken Judge would be happy about that. It appeared that they could have kicked the ball much sooner. It's more Claremont style than Claremont's, that one. East Fremantle boot towards half forward. Durko was high and must have interfered.
No.
Harding getting the free kick.
Thought it's shepherding with the ball too far away.
So Harding already making his presence felt at half forward. He went for Lockyer then. This is Chisholm now. Bilcic confronts him. The hand pass comes out to Chisholm. The tackle from Capewell is good again. And it comes finally to Davidson, who'll try and square it up, but can't get it anywhere near that area. The left footer was locked in the left full forward pocket.
We're really seeing some excellent tackling and some really encouraging work from players just going hell for leather for the ball. That's what it's all about. That's what the public are here to watch, and at the moment it's been an excellent standard.
Mark Brayshaw warming up there as Brad Smith boots the ball to half back. Wolf was the target. It beat all players. Murillo, we've played 20 minutes. Wolf's been on the ball for the whole quarter, as has Sanders, which is unusual for Claremont. They usually make a change, perhaps about this stage.
27 degrees will find them out.
It will indeed. Sanders and Wolf have been at it right through. Sanders wins the tap. Green gets to it first. Anderson takes him on. And Wolf, good decision by umpire Scroop there, because Green made no attempt to keep the ball in play when he was tackled. So Anderson the free kick. It's not a good one though, and Chisholm chips into Mark. Right on the 50-metre defensive line. As Harding stands the mark. Now he'll go short. He's found Panizza out there at half-back right, and away goes the veteran. Chased down by Harding, and that caused the turnover again. And MALAXOS marked that at 50 metres here, because umpire Cronje believes that Edwards, it's 25 metres. Certainly Edwards was the offender there, Les.
I suspect also that Jamie Murillo got conned in the three-card trick by MALAXOS there. He was going to go for the mark. Seen him suddenly pull his hand out, and MALAXOS was behind him.
Davidson on a lead, chipping into the gap there with Chisholm. Good work by him. Equally as well done though by the Sharks, as Harding chips it in towards Condon, who's up the ground. Oh, Pobjoy upended there by Morgan. What are those two doing up there? In goes Jones, the ball being held to him, and the umpire coming in to separate them. What's Condon and Morgan doing?
I think Morgan decided he might want to kick. Right to where the action is.
I think I have to agree with that, Trevor. Unusual for him to be right up there, unless obviously Condon took off at one stage on a square off.
I thought the heat had got to me. Sanders has won 9 taps already. Knocks it out again. Chance here. Weight of numbers should win out. Pobjoy gets a hand pass, a blind one back. Green got a high tackle. The first tackle, not the second one from Sanders. There it is, McManus it was. Little Adams apple tapper. would have loosened a few seeds in the Adams apple. The kick to the members' wing. Up in front of the pack there is Joe Smith. Knocked away cleverly by Burrows, though. In goes Wolf. Taps it back to the advantage of Sheldrick. Confronted by Burrows. Hand pass lands with Pobjoy. Good evasion by Pobjoy. Now Davidson. Has he paid it? Over the shoulder he's paid. Didn't pay the mark. Paid the free kick to Jeff Davidson. There it is. Now he goes looking for Lockyer. Into the gap, though, chips Brad Smith. And the Tigers again will repel the attack from the Sharks.
Brad Smith being moved on to Stephen Bilsich now, with Chisholm picking up Davidson and the ball on the outer side of the ground. Stagg will try and keep it in the forward line, but this is Anthony Jones, who's been terrific for Claremont. The bounce on the far side and the terrific kick to Brayshaw freshly on the ground at half forward has taken the mark as Pitton Wolf sits down to rest. Brayshaw undecided what to do. He's going to go short, and he's found the target out there. Looks like Gavin Mitchell. From 50 metres, right half forward, goes for the goal square. High went Condon, the crumbs to Clem. He's clever at these kicks normally. He went for Brayshaw, but finally the numbers go East Fremantle's way, and away they go. Good hand pass from Davies to Condon, and he kicks long to centre half forward. That's the rebound. Terrific mark, Harding. And perpetual motion, East Fremantle. The hand pass off to Anderson. Lockyer now deep in the right full forward pocket. Taps for Durkay. He's clever, but falls over. Peniza now.
Gee.
Not the best option to hand pass then, I'd suggest.
The worst.
This is Anderson again. And look at the numbers. East Fremantle's way. There's two of them there. Might have been a throw there. And now Claremont finally going to rebound through Brad Wira. And well chased by Capewell to put the pressure on. They're doing the hard things, the Sharks. That often pays off in grand finals. They lead 3-2-20 to Claremont 1-3-9, 25 minutes in.
Wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying this grand final coverage live on ABC. This is a crackerjack grand final so far. Sanders, over the top of him was Brayshaw, towards the members' wing, and Gary Edwards runs it over in front of McManus. Quality of the football is outstanding.
Very much, TJ. As I said, excellent desperation from East Fremantle in particular, and deserve to be leading on the board at the moment.
They lead at the moment by 11 points, 20 plays 9. As we start to wind down this last quarter, he's getting a closer look, and why wouldn't a game like this? Justin Sanders, tremendous first quarter, but can he keep going? Wolf's having a rest at the moment. Brayshaw goes against Sanders, who beats him easily. Murillo breaks the tackle of McManus. Around Malaxos, he kicks towards half forward. Down there is Edgar. With him was Wardell Johnson. Crumbs come to the ground. Wardell Johnson in on top of it. And now he wins the day. Wardell Johnson from 60. Kicks long towards the square. Going back Condon against the flow. Knocked away from Clem by Amirante. Davies and Mitchell are there. Mitchell runs it towards the boundary. Davies is with him, and Davies wins the day. Oh, the hand pass is a dangerous one. Amirante has it knocked away by Mitchell. Clem there lending support to his teammate. And the umpire says holding the ball against Darren Clem, who can't believe it.
I reckon that's a good decision. They've been consistent with that today, Les, haven't they?
Yes, they have, Trevor. That's what I said. You can't ask any more as long as the umpires are consistent with their decisions. Desperate work again from East Fremantle here. As I said, Davies has had a good quarter again, that particular quarter, as did most of the East Fremantle players. But
Darren Clem, the look on his face told the story. There's the scoreline, 3-2, the Sharks 20, Claremont a 1-3-9, and not very often in a quarter of football, Claremont are held to one goal in a term. Lockyer has been mobile at full forward. He hasn't kicked a goal yet. The goal scorers Bilsich, Pobjoy and Harding, and for the Tigers, Wardell Johnson. But the Sharks certainly look a completely different unit to the one that came out in the second semi-final, and Riley at the moment really has to get a little bit more cohesion in this Tigers outfit today, Les.
yes, he does. So I'm sure the Claremont players, as I said, should have started to settle by now. I just think the difference at the moment is East Fremantle just seem to want the ball more. They want to get in hard. Their tackling, I thought, was outstanding. They put a lot of pressure on most of the Claremont players when they did have the ball there. As I said, and they finished off the job a little bit better up forward as well. But I'm sure Coach Mark Riley will just still in his players just to stay relaxed, but just probably pick their tempo up just a little bit more and use the ball a touch better To East Fremantle's credit, their backline defended very strongly then too.
Yes, I think they had their feathers ruffled a little bit in that first term, Claremont, and the tactics have been absolutely dynamic by Kenny Judge. He's had Lee Matthews down there this week, and they looked as if there might be a few Lee Matthews tackles in what we saw this afternoon so far. We talked about Justin Sanders in that first term. I think that's where the trouble started for the Tigers, really. And 11 hit-outs to 5 maybe tells the story, Les, of Sanders' dominance in that first term.
Yes, we mentioned that both Wolf and Sanders will be two key players of both their respective sides today. Certainly Sanders had the best that particular quarter, but I don't believe he's going to be able to keep going the way he's going with as hot as it is out there today. So whereas Wolf had a quick breather, interesting that Mark Riley brought on Brayshaw into the ruck rather than Reece Croxford, that he has done in previous weeks. And Croxford has done a good job when he has come on. So just maybe wanted to get an experienced player onto the ground to get up against someone like Sanders for the last 5 minutes of that quarter.
He's a very intense coach, Ken Judge, and he certainly has got his players right behind him in this game so far, as has Riley. But Riley knows there's just not quite the same feeling there that we saw in the second semi-final at this stage. But they're a side who can suddenly go on the attack, Claremont, and anything could happen because they've got so many outstanding young players and they're very quick. So there's a long way to go yet in this game. But at the moment, the Sharks lead by 11 points. Umpire Greg Scroop having a word to a couple of players there in the middle of the ground. Let's have a look at this terrific mark from Paul Harding. Clever capture by the big man. Subiaco Oval bathed in sunshine here. John Anea is downstairs. John, what's the report on Paul Abbott and Andy McGovern?
Actually, it's bad news for both players, Trev. Paul Abbott has got his arm in a sling at the moment. He appears to have some sort of fracture either to his wrist or hand. Andrew McGovern initially thought it was a calf sprain, but on speaking to one of the Claremont people, it appears they're suspecting a fracture of his left leg.
Oh.
So looks like those players won't be participating any further in this game.
Ken Judge, what did he have to say there?
Sorry?
Ken Judge, what were his thoughts?
Look, Ken Judge, generally very happy that East Fremantle just treating each quarter as a game. He's happy with game one. Claremont, generally, Bomber Riley spent quite a bit of time just going through the plays, praising their efforts. Obviously, Joseph is presenting some form of problem there. Wasn't quite happy with his performance in the first quarter.
Well, Pobjoy's got it now, gives it away to Clayton Anderson from right centre wing, wobbles it towards full forward. Lockyer has it fisted away by Panizza. Capewell runs onto the loose ball though, kicks towards the square, but Chisholm's there, and he got away from Vilsic, sells the dummy to Durkay, and uses his pace, and that's not easy against Gary Durkay, and finds Joey Murillo at centre half back.
With his opponent Malaxos on the mark, Jamie Murillo to centre half forward. There's a terrific mark. That's what Mark Riley would have asked for from Joe Smith, as he attacked the ball strongly then against Craig Burrows. Now he goes to the 50-metre attacking line. Paul Morgan, Condon, terrific judgment as he let Morgan run under the football. And a good mark to Condon. He handballed off quickly to Glenn Davies. Not a good kick there from Davies. He's gone to a 2-on-1 situation in favour of Claremont. Scott Edwards will have Gary Edwards to use if he wishes. And Pobjoy did it well to keep him under pressure. Now Sheldrick's under that pressure. Might have been kicking in danger against McManus.
Could have been.
Play on calls the umpire. Treleaven in there now. The umpire will finally come in and bounce. McManus, one of the stars of the first quarter, with Jamie Murillo, who's marking Steve Malaxos today. And this was the possible kicking in danger one, yeah, it had to be.
Perfect example of it.
Yeah, the knee actually to the midriff there, but no damage done to Jeremy Sheldrick, fortunately. Pobjoy, the hand pass to Malaxos. To right half forward now. Capewell's been a very good crummer out there, and Leach thumps to the boundary line. There's Paul Harding.
He looks very determined, Capewell, today.
Paul Harding has been going to the hypnotist. He looks like Sparno. Yeah. Thumps on there. And Durkay cleverly kept the ball in play. Now he can put pressure on Wirra, who went straight for the line then. But got away with it. What do you think, Les?
Well, I think, yes, you're right. He did actually hand pass straight to the boundary line under extreme pressure, but the umpire's giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Now, a free kick picked out here. It's going to Sanders against Wolf, who hangs his head in shame.
Well, I think that one looked even a bit more iffy, but as I said, the umpire was right on the case again. So as I said, the decision will obviously stand.
Maybe it was a bit of a square up for the one that wasn't given, with the Wirra out of bounds on the full. And the next one's a touch. Tiggy touch wood.
Umpires don't do that, Trevor, do they?
Les, you'd know from your 264 games, was it at West Perth, a few of those would have happened. So from 45 metres, he didn't take much of a run in, Justin Sanders, and as a result tried to kick the ball too hard and kicked it out of bounds on the full.
At the other end of the ground, Les, Morgan would all of a sudden be a bit of a problem for Riley. He needs to get into the game, Morgan. Condon's killing him at the moment.
Yes, in fact, and Joe Smith for that matter too. Both their key forwards not really having much on the play at this point. I certainly saw Mark Riley saying some choice words, I think, to Joe Smith at quarter time.
Bad mistake by Sheldrick. Treleaven went through. The umpire, Cronya's gone down. Treleaven gets a hand pass away. Panizza keeping it under the ground level almost, as it's tied up there. Now a hand pass to Lockyer from Treleaven. He wobbles it towards full forward, bounces in front of Brad Smith. Davidson's there. Davidson wins the day, gets onto that lethal left foot, but hooks it too far. Not very lethal that time, Jeff Davidson. You should have kicked that. You had all the time in the world to balance. And a bad mistake.
East Fremantle is certainly threatening again. They've had the ball in the last couple of minutes and just can't thread it through the big sticks at this point in time. But Claremont have just got to break the ball out of there.
I think the Tigers would realise already this is not going to be any easy road this afternoon. The Sharks are going to make this a very pebbly surface. Gary Edwards and McManus. McManus at the back, couldn't hold the mark. Shovels it out wide. Durkay, good tackle on Gary Edwards then. And the pack develops. Cronya coming in to bounce it down. He lost his footing, Sam Cronya, a moment ago there. He really went down heavily.
Yeah, Chisholm came running through and actually took the umpire out, I think. Accidentally, of course.
Is that holding the ball? Wolf beat Sanders that time. McManus went for the soccer, and the green goes for the boundary. That's okay, says the umpire. Just a little flat spot here at the moment. This is going to be a real test of fitness for both sides. Sanders wins the tap, run into by Scott Edwards, who hooks it around his body, keeps it in the field of play. Davies and Mitchell come down, comes to Holmes, Sandwich, got his kick in. Smith and Burrows, Burrows too good.
He has lifted, Craig Burrows.
Different today.
He's booted the ball into the corridor here. Terrific mark from Sanders.
Marking's been a feature, Trent.
He's playing like a man inspired, Justin Sanders. The hand pass off to Treleaven. He goes to centre half forward, and coming on the lead was Lockyer, following the lead of the centre half forward Harding. And the big fellas mark low down. And East Fremantle have had a lot of play in their 50-metre zone, much like West Perth last week, as Joe Smith coming off the ground.
Off screen. And to Brayshaw to come on. This is Lockyer's new kicking style, Trev.
Well, Brett Hetty yesterday, but from right on 50 metres, I think he's off to the right-hand side. No, he's not. It swung back. No one really went for that. Amazing situation, but a goal to East Fremantle, 4-3-27. They're now in front by 3 goals. Claremont 1-3-9.
Well, I mentioned a moment ago that East Fremantle have been persisting and taking the ball inside their 50-metre line. And it was good to see that finally a ball came. Terrific mark by Justin Sanders. What a game he is having. Fed the ball on very, very quickly. Got it down to Lockyer. And then Lockyer, as I said, if he can get in front of Panizza, he's going to cause problems. He's gone back and kicked what we thought certainly only just snuck in over the line in the end.
Well, the Sharks have thrown down the gauntlet to the defending champions, and they need to find something here. They've got Smith off the ground, McGovern off the ground. Morgan can't get a touch at full forward. They need something to happen for them. It could be now. Edwards tackled after he got rid of it. Should have got a free kick. Murillo gets a hand pass away. He's dumped. Burrows goes for the boundary and finds it with a deft little toe poke. McManus was also working hard in there. He's been in everything so far, hasn't he, Sean McManus? He's had a couple of crunching...
He's in a bit of trouble here.
Yes, he copped a very good one from Brayshaw then.
Brayshaw wins the tap. Murillo caught, run down, loses the ball in the tackle. The umpire will bounce it down.
And
some cracks in this Claremont makeup at the moment, Les.
McManus is off.
Yes, there is. There is too much, as I said, East Fremantle just keeping the pressure on them at the moment. That's what's doing it. we've got a real blow here with East Fremantle, but if MCMANUS is coming off, well, it looks like he is.
There it is there, Brayshaw.
Just a good hip and shoulder.
Yeah, he went down and he's going off the ground.
Broken ribs, I think.
Dr. Sprigg, Murillo snaps, good kick, just swings away.
Just having a look at him, TJ, as he's coming along there. He certainly seems to be breathing quite deeply and a bit of pain initially there, but
Well, it could be ribs, it could be bruised ribs anyway. But we'll have to find out from Dr. John Anea down there to get the official report on a very important player for the Sharks. And Judge wouldn't like to see that. They could stop their momentum. Condon to half back. Weight of numbers should win out. Treleaven gets a hand pass away to Popjoy, and away they go again. Scott Edwards pushes him as he kicks in the back. It'll come back to Popjoy from right centre wing. He kicks upfield. Durkay spins away from trouble. Kicks to centre half forward. The lead from Davison, knocked away by Smith. Davison follows it through the pack. Gives it away to Amirante from 50 metres. He goes long. It beats Chisholm, or did it? I think it did. It's a goal. And the Sharks are on a roll. And the Tigers are in trouble here in this grand final. Sharks are 5-3. Claremont are 1-4. 23 points the margin.
Well, it's not well done by Amirante then. He's pushed down the ground because Clem has obviously come down to get involved in the play. Happened to be in the right spot at the right time. And that's not a bad kick on his non-preferred side, thanks very much. And Chisholm there, as I said, just couldn't quite get his hand onto the ball. But Claremont now really have to find something, as East Fremantle are dominating the game at this point now.
They're trying to match East Fremantle the physical stakes because Amirante copped a good one from Gary Edwards as he kicked that ball then. May have got another free kick. That's Holmes at the bottom of the pack. Claimed by Popjoy. East Fremantle right on top across the centre. They've had to move Bilsich into the centre now with Lally coming onto the forward pocket with McManus off the ground. Wolf goes high, wins the tap. It comes down to Clem. Bilsich in there. Ricochets off the boot of Harding. Bursting through Anthony Jones. That's good football once again. So he found the space. MALAXOS is back. Murillo's beats into the ball and should be able to get a score for Claremont. Over the top he goes to Brendan Green. Goal coming up for the Tigers as they start to answer the East Fremantle challenge. 2-4-16 now. And the Sharks are 5-3-33.
Obviously, by the sounds, we've got an East Fremantle crowd here. They're obviously booing the fact the goal was scored, and not why, because Murillo here just used his body on MALAXOS within 5 metres, which is within the rules, threw the player, fed it over to Green there, and Green steadied and put the goal through. But that goal really is a good result from Jones's work yet again at centre half back, and he has been one of certainly Claremont's leading lights. And if it wasn't for him, I'm sure Claremont would be in more strife than they currently are.
Claremont really need to find something. It could be the start of something for them today. Sanders again down to Bilsich, taken there by Sheldrick. Good tackle put on him. Bilsich has got the loose ball. Kicks towards full forward. Chisholm had his hands to that. With him is Lally. Did he get a high tackle? Not according to the umpire. Davison to Lockyer in trouble. Bursting through now is Leach. And the Sandover medal runner-up. Run down though by Lally. And the Cubs come towards Durkay. He's met by Clem. Gee, it's hard and tough in there. Clem gets it out towards Holmes. He's tackled high. He'll take the free kick. Stagg, the offending player. The Prendergast medal winner from last Monday night, Jonathan Stagg, tackling too high. It was on for young and old then, Les.
Yes, it was. This is good stuff here again. Now, Claremont have picked themselves up just a notch here.
They have. They've realised that they were in trouble and getting out of their depth. McManus looks as though he's recovered okay. That's good news for the Sharks. Sanders and Wolf do battle again. Wolf wins the tap this time, but it's Craig Treleaven, dynamic in the preliminary final. Hand pass to MALAXOS, the veteran. Hooks it around his body. Onto the members' wing. Leach is there for the Tigers. With him is Durkay. Hand pass blocked there by Edgar. On he goes to Stagg. Stagg runs to 55 metres. Kicks towards the top of the square. It carries Wirra and to Capewell. And Capewell's the first one back. Goes inboard. Davison loses his footing. And Brad Smith will mop up as he finds Daryl Panizza.
He's still under a bit of pressure. He got the hand pass away. It went to Stagg. He in turn goes back to Davison. Was he tackled high? Play on. Good decision. Let the play go, umpire, when the Gladiators are at it. Brad Smith will clear to the far side to Scott Edwards. He can come inboard to Jamie Murillo. Sanders gets there too late. Better looking Claremont now to Clinton Wolf. This is how they like to set up their play. The big fella does a spurt and boots the ball to full forward. Condon read it beautifully. Paul Morgan, where are you today? Playing from behind. Condon for Harding. Should have held that mark. It was thumped away by Jones at the last minute. Good work, Harding, as he paddles to MALAXOS. Plays for the free kick, the veteran. Taps away to Capel. Was that a throw? Allowed by the umpire. It comes to Pobjoy. Boots to the goal square. Chisholm high. Goal, East Fremantle. It's a free kick. And it's going to go to Brad Smith. It's against Davidson, who made no protest. Interesting to see that one. And there it was. Clearly a free kick with the ball too far away. So Brad Smith, 6 possessions. Right in the goal square. Kicks long to half-back right. Anthony Jones will be too tall for Jonathan Stagg and marks from behind.
He's been one of their better players, Les.
Yes, he has.
He keeps that very low for Brayshaw, who slides into a very good mark and plays on quickly. Leach on the overlap. Durkay closing him down. Leach, good evasion. Kicks now to half forward. Wardell Johnson, good mark in front of Edgar. Good young player, this fellow. Now the pass for Morgan, and he does it this time. Beats Condon that time. He got about a half metre on him, and Condon is so fired up today. But Morgan that time has won the day. Good Morgan.
The look on Paul Morgan's face then when he took that mark, he didn't have that look of confidence about a player, so let's hope for his sake and Claremont's.
He might have been expecting something to come from behind, I would imagine.
I think a little tete-a-tete at the start of the game may have put Morgan on his medal.
From 50 metres, he's a good kick as a rule. That's another good kick. The Tigers are coming back like a good side that they are. They now go to 3-4-22. The Sharks are 5-3-33. And they answered the challenge, Les, just in time, haven't they? They really have come to life just when it's required.
Well, they seem to have. Clem's gone into the midfield and he's been doing some physical work and getting guys off the ball. But Wardell Johnson took a good mark and then a nice pass into the Claremont full forward there and Morgan's gone back and put his first on the board, and that just edges them that little bit closer now, Claremont, to East Fremantle.
So the ball back in the centre of the ground. Sanders wins it once again. Treleven's in the middle of the ground now for East Fremantle. This is Harding. Got the hand pass to Treleven. And Treleven's kick is terrific. Look for Lockyer. But it's stuffed away or kicked away, socket away by Panizza to Anthony Jones. Off the ball. Very bad play by Scott Edwards as he dragged Pobjoy down. Probably cost his team a goal. That's undisciplined stuff. The kick from Pobjoy. Lockyer tried to tap over his head. This is Green getting back for the ball. He goes to Chisholm. The hand pass smothered. He's been very shaky in the back line today, Scott Chisholm.
Has he ever?
Chance now for Panizza of Claremont. He got it to Leach and then to Chisholm, who tapped away again. Finally, Brendan Green decides to kick the football, but only as far as Pobjoy once again. Pobjoy. Davidson high. Stagg right in the right place for crumbs. Davidson the hand pass. Went without it, Lally first off. Then he got it to Stagg. Who was pulled down without the football. Brendan Green thought he'd gone for the ball.
I think Claremont have just given away a couple of silly free kicks there. I'm sure Green saw that Stagg didn't have control of the ball, and as I said, Jones was off a moment ago through that midfield, and costly shepherd by Scott Edwards, who needs to pick his rating up for sure.
Yeah, Pobjoy's well on top of him, I thought, Les.
Yes, he has, and as I said, Stagg now has got a chance to just steady the situation for East Fremantle.
Well, they're 11 points in front. This can make it 17, but it won't improve the situation at all. A shocking kick by the Prendergast medal winner, but it's one of the players that's keeping East Fremantle on top across the middle of the ground. Darryl Panizza to bring the ball back into play.
East Fremantle 12 free kicks to Claremont's 5, Les. Kick to half back. Oh, Davison. Claremont went to sleep there as McManus is about to come back on. This was far too easily done by Davidson. And now he's 50 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And it'll be Stagg who comes off screen. Davidson, drop punt on the way. Is offline. Lockyer's mark. Over the line. One behind the result.
Now, yes, there's a penalty against Lockyer here because he handballed the ball away. And that's the rule in actual fact. And he's got to come right up to the back of the square now for this kick from Claremont. So
a wasting time rule.
Yep.
Well, not very well done by the experienced player either there in Andrew Lockyer. If you think about it, as I said, now Claremont can go straight out of their defensive area.
He obviously thought he marked it inside the line. A bit of frustration has cost his side.
But experienced players shouldn't do those sorts of things, do they?
This is another experienced player. Daryl Panizza now from the members' wing to half forward. Going back with courage there is Davies. He's been paid a push in the back. He could have also been paid the mark, I thought, but the umpire indicated a free kick. Davies kicks to the members' wing. Harding from the back, knocked away by Jones was good work, but speed by Durkay, skirting the boundary, kicks up towards full forward. Out comes Chisholm and Lally. They both overrun it, mopped up by Wirra, who pulls it across his body, back to the wing. Sanders up, couldn't hold the mark, was he interfered with? Not according to the umpire. A little bit unlucky not to get the free kick then, Justin Sanders. Wolf and Sanders. No clean tap. Sanders best to recover. Hooks it upfield. Jones knocks it away from Harding. Taken in the pack there by East Fremantle. And Anderson's not going too far there. As the troops came in, Wolf and Murillo. Another bounce. Members' wing. 22 plays 34 in favour of the Sharks.
Well, Claremont just hanging in there, but one really gets concerned about the amount of play East Fremantle have had and not capitalising. It's taking a lot out of them in these conditions. They've had a hard road to hoe. It's half forward. It comes to Lally, who got it to Amirante, who's been kicked the only goal for this quarter for East Fremantle. It's into the 50-metre attacking line once again. They've got to try and get a score from these sorties. The hand pass from MALAXOS to Durkay. He's clever, but he's surrounded by Claremont defenders, one of whom is Chisholm. And he threw the hand pass out to Panizza, and back it goes to Scott Edwards. It eludes him. Fickle bounce. Now capable for East Fremantle on the 50-metre attacking line. Kicks towards the goal square. From behind Harding, gets the ball to ground. Wirra goes by hand across the ground. Leach has plenty of time now. He's been a star for Claremont and stood up very well under pressure today. Goes to Holmes, backward of right centre wing. He's put Green under pressure here, and he's tackled brilliantly by Treleaven. He just got rid of it in time. That was a throw against Anderson. The over-the-top hand pass, and the ball will come back because umpire Cronje, first of all, paid the advantage. As Croxford comes onto the ground for his first run, and Clinton Wolf has a spell. Croxford a big influence in the second semi-final. It's amazing he hasn't had a run before this. So the kick further forward there from Mitchell. It's to Clayton Anderson there. And now Croxford, his first touch. Edgar overran the football. Croxford goes down for it again. They'll try and hold it in the area if nothing else, Claremont. But finally, Burrows emerges with it, gets it to Amirante. And he's got an option with MALAXOS on his left if he wants. He comes back to his left to Treleaven. Could have gone to his right to MALAXOS. The Treleaven kick, though, is not good, although it eluded Chisholm and surprised Davidson. Was there a free kick to Lally? Play on, said the umpire.
Dangerous.
This is dangerous because it's fallen for the sharpshooter Lally, and he's dribbled it through. So East Fremantle at last get a dividend for hard work. 6-4-40 now, and Claremont 3-4-22.
Well, Claremont paid dearly there for a couple of errors. Firstly, Chisholm that didn't collect that ball. He's been in the play, but he's just not confident in doing things. Brad Smith there, we can see, was fighting hard. Didn't quite do it, and Daryl Panizza, unusual for Dollar to go that way. It was good work by Jeff Davidson to create the pressure, which allowed Lally then to pick the ball up and snap a nice goal with his left foot. And a much-needed steady one for the East Fremantle club now.
Why didn't Chisholm take the mark?
Well, I just said I've been concerned just with a bit of inexperience today. Maybe the occasion. He's certainly been at the ball enough. Capewell,
he goes hard at the ball but loses his footing, so does Cobjoy. But Treleaven's there for the Sharks. He steadies, kicks towards centre half forward. Running onto it is Holmes. All try to get it to Clem, intercepting Sanders. But the umpire sent a free kick. Claremont player being held. Free kick to Holmes, goes by hand, and it's got to go back.
25-metre penalty.
Nearly 17,000 people here watching the grand final today. And that's an encouraging sign for the WAFL. Clem kicks into open spaces. Brayshaw tried to use his body. Burrows barged through. Now from right centre wing, kicks towards the pocket. Davidson knocked away by Brad Smith. He's been a reliable defender. Wirra tackled by Capewell. Wirra goes for the boundary. He'd want to be careful, Brad Wirra. He's done it a couple of times out there. And the umpires will ping him if he keeps it up. Croxford using his body. Knocked away by Sanders, though. First back will be Jones. Treleven's with him. And Jones also wants the safety of the boundary. There's plenty of safety out there. Harding beats Croxford. Treleven tried to find a space, couldn't do that. Clem, good hands. And he sends Leach away from the deep defensive zone. He kicks to the members' wing. 2-on-2 here. The first back is McManus. He looks to have recovered well. Kicks inboard. MALAXOS, good bounce. Measures the hand pass to Davies. Davies now from the members' side of the ground. Kicks to half forward and LALLY. 55 metres out. But away from Chisholm. He chips over the top. And Mirandi on his own. And that's very loose checking by Claremont.
That was very bad play by Quentin Leach, wasn't it? He had to come forward to that player, surely.
Yes, Trevor, you're right, because Clem was trying to cover Treleven, who was the other player short, and you've got to be one-on-one down in that 50-metre arc, that's for sure.
East Fremantle have got 6 goal scorers at the moment. Amirante can be a multiple goal scorer if he boots this, and I think he's got it. Goal! 2 goals to Mark Amirante. And the Sharks go to a 4-goal lead close to half-time. And with the purpose that they're playing with, Les, they look as if they could go all the way today at the moment.
Yes, Claremont, we're coming back at East Fremantle there, but East Fremantle have just been able to steady with their persistence of that goal before to LALLY. And now Amirante, who's kicked, as I said, his 2nd goal for the day. Interesting that he's tagging Clem. Clem's been working hard trying to get down deep in the back line. As a result, Amirante's been able to sneak in and get a couple of goals.
Sanders wins it away again for East Fremantle. They've stretched their quarter-time 12-point lead to 24 points. This is Wirra, but he's dispossessed. Terrific hand pass from Capewell. Sends Bilsich over the 50-metre line. He should score from here, and he's put it through for another one of the Sharks. They're finishing off well now, getting a dividend. 8-4-52. And Claremont are 3-4-22. Bilsich has 2.
Excellent work by East Fremantle again. As I said, worked hard, got the ball out of the centre. We can see here, obviously, Clem may be unlucky to get a kick. Good tackle by Harding. I've been impressed by Capewell. He's been a danger man down on that forward line for East Fremantle today. Got it on to Bilsich again, who's taken a nice bounce, steadied, and as I said, East Fremantle looking the goods.
Been a goal scorer for the season. About 38, 39 goals for Stephen Bilsich. Sanders dominating. Crumbs come down towards Mitchell. Got a hand pass away. Bilsich is there again, though. Backs out of trouble well. Gives it away to Davies. Sharks on the move again. Durkay and Smith. And Leach, rather. Crumbs come to Durkay. This could be another one. Durkay makes no mistake. And the Sharks are punishing the Tigers here. Close to half-time. Goals in the time-on period are so vital in games like this. And the Tigers at the moment have no answer, Les.
No, as I said, goals in time on win matches. Davies again, he's been working very well. Got the ball down. Durkay then, as I said, juggled, steady. He got explosive speed, hasn't he? And he really just pulled away there, steadied, and bang, goes through another one. And this is really hurting Claremont now. Just think Claremont maybe has got a lack of a bit of experience out there with a lot of young players. As I said, only the 11 of their side from last year playing today.
Quentin Leach paying the penalty for not going to spoil it. Inspired Justin Sanders. 4 in 4 minutes to the Sharks. They've broken the game open. They'll try and pinch another one before half-time, and they might be able to do it. This is Amirante, perhaps for his 3rd. He steadies. He kicks it. Terrific passage of play by the Sharks. And they're on the way to the Pepsi Cup this far from home. 10-4-64. And the lamenting Tigers 3 23-4-22.
Well, I said in the pre-match build-up, I said Claremont would probably have foot speed. I can tell you at the moment, East Fremantle look like they're sprinters across the ground. They're doing an exceptionally good job getting the ball out of the centre. Amirante again. There he goes down to kick his third goal. He's second within probably a couple of minutes, and I'm sure Ken Judge there and pitcher must be saying we're nearly there. We've just got to keep our work ratio up the second half.
10 centre breaks to 4 in favour of East Fremantle. Sanders has been a match winner so far. He's killed the Claremont ruck. It's almost even Stevens there. Holmes went without it. Murillo is tackled heavily by Capewell. It scrambled back towards the middle. McManus gets away from 2 tackles. One of those was from Holmes. Kicks to centre half forward. Edwards. It's an awful bounce. Harding slaps it into the path of Capewell. Coming up Leach. He loses it in the tackle. Harding takes him to the ground. Capewell gets a hand pass away towards Davies. Spinning away from Croxford. He was caught in the finish, but he got it to Capewell to Lally. Lally gets around Jones. Now it's Edgar. Edgar gets his hand pass in. Beaten though by Chisholm. He knocks into the pocket. Leach gets it upfield. Jones fumbles and then runs it over.
Gee, I think
even the ball handling is not clean from the Tigers at the moment.
I reckon Claremont have got to get Clinton Wolf back on the ground. Justin Sanders has absolutely murdered Reece Croxford.
And Harding doing a good job too, won that tap. Chisholm, cool in the crisis there, finds Mitchell as the siren sounds to end the first half. The East Fremantle house love it. He's only kicked 1 goal. He's hardly been in the play. He's been annihilated by Damien Condon, number 24. And the Condon set the pattern for this game, really, for East Fremantle. When he came out, with his eyes blazing, with plenty of feeling in the belly. As we look at that scoreboard now, as far as goal scorers are concerned, and it's an unlikely hero there in Mark Amirante with 3 and Bilsich with 2. But Claremont, 3 goals to half-time. How would you ever believe that? Wardell Johnson. But there's the man of the game so far. Justin Sanders, been absolutely dynamic. He's taken the game by the scruff of the neck. You can see the determination written on his face. But I just wonder whether he can run out the four quarters in this 27-degree heat, because he has played his soul out for East Fremantle in the first half. But it's his work that has given them a 7-goal lead at half-time. Well, let's go straight down to John Anea. He has 2 special guests from days gone by to talk about this 1994 grand final, with East Fremantle leading by 7 goals. John?
Thanks very much, Trevor. With me I have George Christie. George played quite a bit of football, as we know, with East Fremantle, and also Larry Kickett. Now, firstly, Larry, since you finished footy, have you been mainly involved with coaching, or did you have a bit of a rest?
No, I stayed down at Claremont, John, and I coached their Colts for 6 years, and over the last 2 years I've been coaching up at Guildford Grammar School, so I'm enjoying it and I want to stay involved.
Right. Now, from a coach's point of view, Larry, the last 10 minutes has been devastating for Claremont. I mean, what would Bomber Riley's sort of approach be at half-time, do you think? I
think he's just got to tell his players, all year they've been running the ball out of defence and not doing that today. East Fremantle have been very, very disciplined. I think losing McGovern in that first quarter took a lot of drive out of the middle of the ground, and I think what he's got to do is just go back to basics. I'd put Joe Smith on the ball, get a bit of run around the ground, because Burrows is doing very well, and he's been sort of causing East Fremantle to get the ball out of the centre, particularly the last 10 minutes.
Right. Now, George, what about yourself? What have you done since finishing playing footy?
I had a rest for a year, and the last 2 years I've been coaching at Wesley Curtin in the B-grade amateurs.
And you enjoying that?
Oh yes, the first year was a bit of a learning experience for me, and this year we unfortunately got beaten in the grand final, but it was much better when we had a few wins.
Right. Now I think from a coaching point of view, this would be an easy question for you, wouldn't it, at half-time? What do you think Judge's approach would be?
Oh, I'm sure he will remain very intense. He's an intense sort of coach, and I'm sure he'll refer back to what East Fremantle did to West Perth, and I'm sure he'll just make sure his players stick to the task.
Well, thanks very much, guys, and enjoy the rest of the game.
Second half gets underway here, thanks to George and Larry, with John Anea. As Green has slung off the kick in the middle of the ground, they go in very hard. It squirts out to MALAXOS. He wobbles it towards half forward. Claremont in the van here through Wirra, who looks for the boundary. Was he being held? I think he was, by Darren Capewell. Free kick to Brad Wirra. 26 votes in the Sandover medal. He led at one stage in the medal count. They kick the half forward. They set, and almost a mark taken by Sheldrick. He keeps the ball in front of his body. Davies has got him now. Play on the call by the umpire, but the ball's over the line. A bit lucky to get away with that. Fierce tackle there by Glenn Davies. He's certainly been in the thick of things too. Sanders beats Wolf again, down to Davies, who finds a path through. Kicks to half forward. Harding and Brayshaw. Harding, good mark. Good use of the body on Brayshaw. Target, I think, will be Lockyer, who's moving around just outside the square. Panizza's with him. The kick heads that way. Lockyer and Panizza floating in from the back. Edwards takes a safe relieving mark for the Tigers. They need more of that, though.
They do. Paul Morgan's off the ground for them. As away goes the hand pass to Brad Smith on the far side of the ground. Joe Smith didn't want the football then. Condon did. His new opponent down there looks like to be Chisholm in the forward line. Plenty of changes being made. Burrows boots towards half forward. Not well directed, that kick. And Scott Edwards now on the half back line, it appears. Marks for Claremont. Plenty of changes for Claremont, Les Paul.
Yes, there has, and I'm sure that Riley had no other choice but to do that, to try and create something out of nothing.
And there's a free kick down the ground against Andrew Lockyer, as a player is down there, and
Jamie Murillo.
Yes, it was a late tackle, but didn't look too bad. But the free kick down the ground anyways. Popjoy's come off the ground for East Fremantle. Sheldrick in the meantime goes towards Gary Edwards at full forward now for Claremont. Taken by Edgar. Hand pass to Stagg, and back to Edgar it goes. This running game of East Fremantle's been terrific today. Anderson there, going in first to the ball, was decked. Brendan Green given a lot of free away. Anderson goes peeled off at half forward right. It back beautifully to Durkay, who couldn't take the mark, dropped his head, but recovers quickly. Didn't want the football then as Leach took him on. And finally the Claremont defence will break clear. This is where they must claw the lead back by a couple of goals early. The hand pass goes to Brayshaw. I'm sure Ken Judge wants East Fremantle just to hold on. Good spoil there from Craig Burrows. He's really lifted since the other finals games. The ball to be thrown into play.
Things have really started off at a ferocious pace again, and as I said, it's good to see. Claremont must just keep persisting, and obviously East Fremantle mean to maintain what they're doing, but there certainly have been lots of changes from both sides for that matter, just to keep the momentum going.
Les, I can't believe that the tempo is actually more intense than the first half at this early part.
Well, as I said, they're playing for such a big prize, aren't they, TJ? And as I said, nothing comes better or sweeter than a premiership.
Wolf and Sanders, shoulder to shoulder out there. Wolf wins the tap this time. Off the ground by Burrows, lands in front of Murillo. He gets a heavy tackle from MALAXOS. In goes Mitchell. Davies using his body. And now Capewell's got the crumbs outside 50. Lockyer and Panizza. Panizza at the back, punches away. Chance here for Lally, who runs onto it. Coming down to meet him was Leach. Lally's put out of the contest. Pretty ferocious out there at the moment. Now this is Jones sprinting away to the members' wing. And he's run too far. He's not happy about it. This is a Lally incident now with Leach.
And guess what? He got up and chased and got the free kick as well.
That's good effort from Stephen Lally.
That epitomises what East Fremantle have been about today, though, TJ, doesn't it? Second efforts.
Claremont aren't going to match it with them in the rough stuff. They should just concentrate on the football. Oh, at the back, Edwards missed it. Durkay was held but not in possession. Shoveled out to Condon. He hooks around his body. Up comes Smith. Fits it away. Into the path of Davies. Danger here. Run down by Green. Good tackle. Backed up by Brad Smith. By gee, this is hectic. As he heads towards the boundary, it won't go out. McManus has got it inside the boundary. Confronted by Mitchell. Gets around him. Kicks a stray. Wolf misses the mark. Sanders now a chance. Inside 50. He hooks to the top of the square. Davidson unmarked. Totally unchecked, Jeff Davidson has taken the mark. Supporters really enjoyed it. And he'll shoot from 10 metres on about a 60-degree angle. So Claremont's hard work could be undone very easily here. He's got it. Bent back in nicely off the left boot of Jeff Davidson. And so first blood in the second half goes to East Fremantle, and that's just what Mark Riley wouldn't have wanted.
No question about that, TJ. That particular, as I said, East Fremantle persisted hard, as Trevor said at the second efforts. You know, the pressure on Brad Smith there, he couldn't get the ball really into touch. Here we have Sanders, who's, as I said, continued where he left off in the first half. Jeff Davidson on the right side for the left footer. Opens the goal front up with that kick, and as I said, that's a real good steady for East Fremantle. And Claremont, I just don't know what they're going to have to do. They've certainly got to get hold of the footy to start with and get it down on that forward line.
Gee, strange move by Coach Riley too. He's got Anthony Jones, his best halfback, pushed into the back pocket of mine, Lally, with Brayshaw marking Harding. And I really reckon he's got to get the rebound from Jones further up the ground as Croxford warms up to come on the ground.
Would have been tempted possibly in the first half to have actually put Jones at centre half forward.
Yeah, yep, somewhere up there, because they've had nothing from there. Darren Clem's coming off, and Croxford is a tall, so East Fremantle will make a change. Barndon will come on to counter that. So the chessboard starts again. Wolf wins the tap with the left hand. Chisholm runs onto it. Talented is Chisholm. Run down by Stagg, and he brings the ball to a standstill. The double change made. The 223s onto the ground, Barndon and Croxford.
It's amazing how things happen with football these days. As I said, Amirani been a good player for East Fremantle, and because he's tagging, Clem has actually stepped off the field.
Yes.
It'd be unthinkable in the old days, wouldn't it, take a player off like Amirani?
Well, that's the tactics today. Terrific performance by Mark Amirani, as once again Treleaven, who's been an unsung hero as well, goes towards half forward, but Brad Wirra now gaining some composure. There's Darren Clem, the star of the second semi-final, off the ground. His opponents kicked 3 goals against him. Away goes Darryl Panizza on the far side. Boots towards the open spaces at half forward. Joe Smith really doesn't want to attack that football.
No, it's been a disappointing game from Joe Smith to this point. I'd like to see the lad really stand up and be counted now and just keep his head up and concentrate on what's going on and just try and get some touches and help his side, Claremont, maybe get back into this game.
Just 2 possessions to Joe Smith. There's Reece Croxford. And straight away, Damien Condon lets him know he's about the place.
Lockyer's coming off screen, limping.
And Amirani straight back on. Treleaven tries to burst through for East Fremantle. He goes for the feedback hand pass to McManus, who's also had a spell off the ground, but recovered sufficiently from being winded. But that lateral kick can get you into trouble, and Edwards read it beautifully. That's Gary Edwards for Claremont, and has taken the mark. He's now playing at full forward, and Stephen Bilsich, would you believe, is the fullback, his opponent. So the matchups continue. Gary Edwards goes towards the goal square. Thumped away by Burrows. It hasn't got through yet. It has now. So a force behind to Claremont as Andrew Lockyer limps towards the dugout. The big fellow, who scored just 1 goal today.
He might have twinged a hammy chasing Dollar.
Might have been too much for him, that big chase, but it's a 47-point margin to the Sharks.
We've all done hamstrings chasing dollars.
As Condon kicks into play. That should be a kick back into play as the bounce eluded Sanders out there, and Wolf will bring it in.
One of the rare mistakes Condon's made all day. As I said, he's had an outstanding game at fullback.
Now Panizza is well down the ground. I don't know where he's playing at the moment. With Lockyer off the ground, he may be able to use it in a more of attacking role. And Leach is marked at centre half forward. He's a good 60 metres out. He goes for the foot pass into the hole, and a good mark taken by Croxford. He led well into the gap then, Les.
Yes, as I said, they need more of that. And as I said, interesting, Croxford not really a true full forward, probably showing Paul Morgan a little bit how to do it that time. And as I said, a nice pass from Quinton Leach just then.
It looks as though Condon's going to go to full forward. Panizza's picking him up. Croxford shoots. They need this badly. That's a very ordinary kick. In a desperate situation, 40 metres out, he really had to find the target then.
Yeah, a miss like that, as I said, really can make it puts a sag back in you again. And I'm sure the Claremont players, as I said, if they can get a couple of goals, you never know what could happen. But East Fremantle said, Judgey ringing the changes, that's for sure. Now moving Condon down to full forward.
Davies puts it back into play with a good kick. Smith's behind. Wolf misses the mark. Knocked into the path of Green, who loses it to Burrows somehow. Burrows pulled off the kick. Leach is there. Tackled hard by Anderson. Chisholm shovels it out. This is Murillo. Pulls it across his body. Croxford and Barndon at the back. Good use of the body by Gary Edwards. But the ball beats them over the line and through for one behind.
And if Paul Morgan comes back on the ground, you can guarantee that Condon will have to make the long trek back down there again.
Good effort by Condon today.
Yes, he's been terrific. He's kicked the ball into play, but so many of the East Fremantle players have lifted against their immediate opponents, haven't they? Clem and Amaranti's a case in point, as is Burrows and Smith. That was Stagg who kicked the ball wide. Burrows, he's lifted. This is Gary Edwards. Gets the ball in towards the 50-metre attacking line. Wardell Johnson should have held on there, and he had the height advantage. Chisholm gets it back to Wardell Johnson, but 1 metre hand passes allow that tackle, that sort of tackle by Glenn Davies. And just to keep the pressure on. So Glenn Davies deep in the left full back pocket.
Claremont look a bit shell-shocked, Les.
They seem to have been, certainly, as I said, halfway through that second quarter, they were coming back into the game. And East Fremantle got some breaks, and you're right, since then they just don't seem to be quite as willing to get to the ball.
5 minutes of play in the second quarter. Time on could have actually broken this game open as Capewell boots forward. And Amaranti chipping into centre. Has been an inspiration today, the little fella. Off he goes to Capewell by hand. Good use of the ball to Harding outside 50. He can score from here, but he's well offline with a kick. Tried to kick it a little bit too hard. And Gary Jerkay couldn't keep it in play.
Scott Edwards goes to full back. Wirra, hand pass towards Jones. Uses his pace again. Goes to the outer side of the ground. Now Chisholm's broken away out there. Closing quickly McManus. Chisholm gets his kick to half forward. Croxford at the back. Chance there for Gary Edwards. He gives it away towards Wardell Johnson. Hand passed in front of his body. Then he was tackled. Now he pushes it out too far for Sheldrick. Taken by Trelevin. He goes to the ground. Picked up by Davies. Good hand pass. Edgar inboard to Anderson. They're away again. Kick to centre half forward. Condon. In front there was Jones. Slapped it into the path of Wirra. He goes across the 50-metre arc, but a shocking kick lands with Stagg. He breaks away, forced a hand pass now upfield, taken by Capewell, who cuts inboard, back to Stagg. This is danger for Claremont. From 40 metres, Stagg goes for home, but he's offline.
Well, East Fremantle have certainly, as said, again, just steadied themselves. Have brought the ball forward nicely on the last two occasions, and unfortunately haven't been able to quite finish it off with a goal. But as I said, the signs are not looking good for Claremont. And East Fremantle just have to maintain this enormous pressure they're putting on Claremont's ball carriers.
As Sanders has a spell at full forward, Harding will be in the ruck. The kick from Panizza was good to find Scott Chisholm. He goes down to centre wing. MALAXOS will set from behind Murillo. No free kick. Glenn Davies has been an unsung hero. That handball wasn't so good, but he butters up for the second effort. The ball was hidden somewhere in there. We got it to Lally, who in turn got it to Anderson, and that hand pass is bad. And Scott Chisholm has taken a high one from McManus when there was nothing in that. And there it was, making an attempt to belt the ball, I'd suggest. Got the one with the ears on it. Scott Chisholm with 11 possessions. Goes short to Kelvin Holmes. They'll need to move the ball quickly, Claremont. They trail by 46 points. We've played 14 minutes in the third quarter of play in the 1994 Pepsi Cup Grand Final. This is Brendan Green now, breaking clear with the football. Clinton Wolfe down on the ground, shoveled it out to Leach. He's been good for Claremont, and as is this player, Anthony Jones. Away he goes now, and well done, Craig Trelevin, as he grabbed him and it impeded the progress. That's a professional free kick to stop Jones running away. And Trelevin says, "What mark am I on?" And now it's going to be taken away from Jones, and I don't know what for. What's your interpretation there, Les?
I'm not sure what that was for then. He's obviously called it holding the ball the other way, that umpire, and I signalled maybe incorrectly. That's all I can think of.
The hand pass wide to Bilsich, now back to Stagg. Inboard they come. Good build-up. Lally can get around. Steady from 65 metres. Sanders getting back. Thumped away well by Panizza. A force behind the Sharks. But they are well in control for their 28th grand final success.
Seems to be one of the things that's happened as the game has progressed. Claremont can't apply the tackle and keep it held on, whereas East Fremantle seem to be able to just hang that last bit on the shirt tail, so to speak.
Well, Panizza kicked it back in, and Jones ran onto it just in time. He kicks to half forward now. Too far there for Wardell Johnson, going back smartly as Edgar. They are going to the ball in numbers. McManus cuts inboard, kicks to the middle of the ground, and Stagg's on the end of it. Here they come again, the Sharks. Kick will find Amaranti. He's at right half forward. Sanders calls for it. That's the way it goes. Sets it up. Chance for Sanders. Panizza's got a fly from the back. He knocks it into the path of Wirra. He's run down. Durkay the crumbs. Kicks it up in the air. Courage needed. Panizza got a fist to it. Gee, he's a good player. Daryl Panizza. He's playing on Sanders. You need a step ladder to eyeball him. He's knocked it away from him twice, and Sanders has won everything all day. Condon from behind Brayshaw. Slapped away though by Wolf. And the ball tied up at full forward here for the East Fremantle Sharks.
Yes, Panizza probably inadvertently is one of the players, TJ, probably did miss at half-time in giving the better players. At least has been trying to do his job, and only had the one goal kicked on him today.
Condon tried to take clean possession. Edwards goes looking for the boundary. Amirante is out of bounds with the footy, put under pressure by Brendan Green as Morgan's about to come back on.
And you watch Condon sprint to pick him up.
2 weeks is a long time in footy. Sanders was interfered with, not according to the umpire. Brayshaw, tackled by Lally. Scrambles a kick to Leach. Leach delayed the hand pass. Good tackle by Lally, and a throw's been paid. Well, there's the Sandover medalist runner-up getting caught, and now the little chip across the arc has found the Prendergast medal winner in Jonathan Stagg. Claremont just don't look a shade of what we've seen at times this year. But there's been chinks in the armour. Stagg close to the man on the mark, misses with a kick, one behind the result. As Joe Smith, who's had a disappointing day, leaves, and Paul Morgan is back on.
Interesting to see what Ken Judge does when he leaves Burrows to pick up Morgan. This is Panizza. He's coming towards half-back left. The target is Jones. Can't hold on to it. He put some pressure on there with Lally. And terrific work. That's what's won this game for East Fremantle. Just perseverance. And look at that. No attempt to get rid of the ball. Arms pinned.
He wanted the white line more than he wanted to get rid of it.
That's it. And Stephen Lally not renowned for his tackling. He goes for Sanders. It'll be great to see him take a mark and kick a goal. Out off hands to Durkay. Now Condon out of the air. That'll be right of bounds. And at this stage, Condon staying in the forward line. But Claremont have made no impression in the early part of this third quarter. We're 18.5 minutes in now as Wolf and Panizza combine on the outer side of the ground to Brad Smith. Backward of right centre wing. Leach is peeled off. They could probably use him up the ground as well. MALAXOS trying to get around Leach. Well done, Stagg, as he tapped the ball out of Leach's hand and then goes back strongly to get it. But both players are over the line.
Trevor, I think you've called it right. I saw the East Fremantle runner, Neil Lester-Smith, speaking with Condon in a moment, and I could see Condon slowly moving down the ground and the East Fremantle runner going down to the back line. So you're quite right. I think you'll find him back on Morgan in a moment.
It's the old adage, if you've got a player beaten, you don't remove his opponent from him unless you're really forced to. That chip went from Brayshaw to Brendan Green, who was caught once again. His lack of pace has been a problem today for Claremont. This is Wardell Johnson, though. He's tried pretty hard with limited opportunities. Boots the ball into the 50-metre attacking line. That cleared Barndon and Croxford. It jars to Stagg having a good quarter. Then to MALAXOS. And Amirante, through the centre he goes. He's kicked 3 goals. The tagger goes to Davidson on the 50-metre attacking line. Brad Smith tried to pull it in. Wirra will go away with it for Claremont. And they can set something up on the outer side of the ground.
Penetrating kick by Brad Wirra into the forward line. Out comes Morgan. Burrows was with him. He got it down towards Prelevin, twisting and turning. Burrows breaks away from Morgan, receives the hand pass and kicks to the members' wing. And this is Shaun McManus in control of the footy. Confronted by Holmes, he threw that away. And now close to the boundary, Croxford taken out of bounds by Barndon.
It was an interesting no decision by the umpire there, wasn't it? But as I said, both players trying to get the ball desperately there, and McManus showed probably a bit of experience there for a young fella.
Croxford doing work with Harding. They get tangled up. Holmes over the top of Amirante. Socket away by McManus. Chance here for the Tigers. Brayshaw. Lally's got him. Tacking's been ferocious. Murillo, good tackle put on him by Barndon. And the Sharks come away through MALAXOS to Amirante again. Terrific footy by the Sharks. Living up to their name at the moment. Kick to half forward. As we welcome our viewers around the metropolitan area, thank you, Karen, to our grand final coverage, but it's all East Fremantle, 11-7 to 3-7 And right from before the first bounce, the Sharks have been very determined to upset the Tigers. Durkay snaps, and Stagg is marked, plays on quickly, finds the handle again. What's the umpire going to do here? One behind. He was over the line, so an anti-climax. But it's all been East Fremantle almost from the word go, as that was obviously over
Clearly
the line.
behind.
11-8 to 3-7 in a disciplined exhibition, Les Fong, of quality football by East Fremantle.
Yes, it has. East Fremantle's ferocious tackling, their desperation, their second attempt at the ball when they're not there has just been outstanding, and they've really rattled Claremont in particular, as I said, from the halfway mark of the second quarter.
There was a fight before the ball was bounced between Damien Condon and Paul Morgan. Paul Morgan hasn't been cited. He kicked 8 goals in the second semi. One today, was taken off the ground. A couple of serious injuries, unfortunately. We believe that McGovern may have a broken leg and Abbott a broken wrist, but that hasn't been confirmed. The Tigers are into attack here. They need a goal badly. The Sharks again. Anderson to Davies, and they work it towards the outer side of the ground. And Burrows in the van, but weight of numbers should win out here for the Tigers.
On one of the few occasions it will, but Burrows got the little toe poke through to Harding. And he goes back by hand to MALAXOS. And the ever-present MCMANUS, who took a heavy knock early and has rebounded brilliantly, tried to kick that ball too hard. And well read by Daryl Peniza. Lucky Claremont have had him in the last line of defence, along with Anthony Jones and Quentin Leach, being good players for them. This is Clinton Wolfe, who's been thrashed by Sanders but has worked hard anyway. And when East Fremantle broke away at the latter part of the second quarter, Wolfe was off the ground. Croxford was the ruckman on that occasion. Davies from behind Gavin Mitchell, who's been one of the Claremont's disappointing brigade, and Davies went down first and Davies won the free kick. It's been the pattern with the umpiring, it's been the pattern all day. 19 possessions to Glenn Davies, and his opponent Gavin Mitchell has hardly been cited.
He's got a few mates.
All the tags working for East Fremantle as the Davies kick goes to half forward. A tired Justin Sanders. Burrows down there now with Condon going to the back line. Wolfe, the hand pass to Wira, took a long time. It spills to Durkay. Great presence of Ryan Amirati. Chance to kick his fourth. He was going to go on. And there's Rod Lester-Smith, football manager for East Fremantle, and Amirati, a rueful grin. Taken from the ground in the second semi-final after being beaten by Darren Clem. And he's had his opponent removed from the ground today. A chance for his fourth. And he's kicked his fourth. Justin Sanders applauds. And the East Fremantle Premiership pennant is on its way to Moss Street. 12-8-80 to 3-7-25.
Yes, I think you're certainly right there, Trevor. I can't see Claremont, as I said, too big a gap, not enough time, etc. on it goes. But again, Stephen Lally, that's what East Fremantle have been doing all day, tackling like that, holding the tackles and keeping the ball locked in. Amirati, what a game he's had. Known as a backman, he's been tagging Clem. He's had Clem taken from the ground. He's got behind him at this stage 4 goals and an outstanding display of just running and working hard.
Harding's tap, Shark by Murillo, gives it away to Green. Green kicks it towards half forward. Treleven's there with Sheldrick. Post to the boundary. Sheldrick tries to keep it in, but Treleven wins the day. Hand passes up ahead. MALAXOS almost collected by Murillo, but MALAXOS finds the boundary. Very committed players, these East Fremantle blue and whites today. They've been sensational from the first bounce. Tigers really have been rattled by the fierceness of the East Fremantle team. Anderson, good pick-up. Treleven, right centre wing. Kicks to half forward. Target is Burrows. With him is Brayshaw. Brayshaw got a fist in there. And the boundary throw-in will result. Croxford and Burrows, 2 young tyros. Brayshaw has it socket away by Amirati. Chisholm and Durkay work it over the line. So Claremont haven't kicked a goal in this quarter. This had to be their quarter of comeback. It hasn't happened. It's been a disappointing Claremont today. Beaten in most departments. Look at the ease of that. Burrows to Davies, working hard in the pack. Back to Burrows. Capewell skirts around Leach, hooks it upfield, and Burrows was in the way. fortuitously.
Very short 10 metres there, TJ.
You're right.
I think, as I said, East Fremantle probably deserved the luck through their efforts for the day. And the umpire, in that occasion, deemed the ball had gone the 10 metres. And Burrows, who has said, has really responded today. As I said, he got well beaten by Joe Smith in the second semi-final. Didn't actually start on him today, as we predicted Harding may, but it ended up going on to him. In this stage, he's been moved up to centre half forward to let Harding go into the ruck.
40 metres out, drop punt on the way. It's close. He's missed, I think. As the siren sounds for three-quarter time. So the Sharks have booted 2, the Tigers none in that term. And the lead just blows out the gate now. 12-9-81 to 3-7-25. And it would take a miracle turnaround for Claremont to get back into this. And there's a very worried coach who's finding out what football on grand final day can be all about.
I'm sure that the Claremont players hopefully will try and finish off the game now.
Let's have a look at the goal scorers. An unlikely leader, Amaranti with 4. Wilsich has kicked 2, and the Claremont really has been the worst forward structure I've seen in 10 years at Claremont.
Well, TJ, yes, I suppose so, because I said they're 2 key forwards, Joe Smith at centre half and Paul Morgan at full forward, have not performed, and that's to the credit of the East Fremantle players on them as well. And the pressure on the Claremont midfielders when they're bringing the ball in, they haven't been able to deliver it quite as nicely, I suppose, to the forwards as you like, but there has certainly been some problems. As I said, even Sheldrick on a flank hasn't really had much of a touch, and the other Claremont forwards, nor have they, because they've been starved of opportunities.
Justin Sanders would have to be in line for the Simpson medal. He's dominated the ruck work today, and it's been a magnificent performance by him as he has started those forward moves from the middle of the ground, as you can see there by the hit-outs. And look at the number of handballs too. They've moved the ball around by hand and by foot. It really has been one-way traffic for most of the day.
Well, I think his statistics tell the story, TJ. There it is right there. As I said, 50-odd more kicks of the ball and 20-odd, that's 70. That relates quite easily into about 5 goals to start with. And as I said, Sanders didn't have to do as much that quarter, but because East Fremantle, with their midfield anyway, were just able to get in and take the workload off him. But he's had an outstanding game. MALAXOS, as cunning as he always is, just knows where to be. You know, Stevie probably hasn't got the speed in the legs, but he's certainly got the stamina, and he's had an excellent game today. And so has Amaranti, as I said, and Davies that quarter really stood up strong again.
No smile from Ken Judge.
Not yet. A steely approach, and that's the way he attacks his footy. And had a great chat with him on Friday, as you may have seen in our preview on Friday night on ABC television. And he said, we're not negative. One player's responsible for another. That's the way we play footy, and that's the way he coaches. And it's had very good results for East Fremantle. Winners of the flag in '92, and on their way to their 28th premiership here this afternoon. Was that Abbott going into the dugout then? And a couple of bad injuries in the game, Les, which has been unfortunate.
Unfortunate ones, I think, particularly the one that McGovern really upset Claremont's balance in the midfield. They had to swing their side around, and McGovern was had got a couple of early touches, which was helping. His experience, no doubt, also would have been good. Abbott, unfortunate, but I said to some extent maybe it might have helped East Fremantle, even though we obviously wish Paul all the best. We don't mean that in too much of a derogatory sense. But as I said, and then we've had Popjoy himself also just came onto the ground, put his hand up and went off again. We're not sure what's wrong with him at this stage.
Mark Riley calling for one last effort, but it certainly is a very big mountain to climb. And John Anea, being a former Claremont man, that task is going to be very tough, John.
I think it will be, Trev. We couldn't really get close to the Claremont huddle, but I think you've really hit the nail on the head. They didn't score in that quarter, or goals that is, and I'm sure he's just demanding just a committed effort to at least play this game out very hard. You know, 9 goals is a big task at the moment, the way they're playing. East Fremantle, on the other hand, the huddle didn't last for very long. Many of the players were helping Ken Judge out with his address, and the trainers were working overtime on a lot of the players' legs. He really, again, just reinforced the need to really sort of play this last quarter out and really get a good win. With Popjoy, it appears he's strained a groin, and that's why he just left the ground almost immediately at the start of that third quarter. I don't think he'd reappear for this game.
Thanks a lot, John. Look forward to hearing from you later as they official presentations take place and to talk to one of the players after the game. Who will it be? We don't know yet. But East Fremantle in the box seat here. 12-9-81 plays 3-7-25. Who better to start the last quarter than an old East Fremantle stalwart in Trevor Sprigg?
Well, Steve MALAXOS urging him on, saying we've got 25 minutes away and he can captain his second victorious premiership or grand final team for East Fremantle. Stagg in there, but barging through Croxford, it looked like. Boots to centre half forward. Morgan out of that position. Courageous.
Very.
Glennie Davies stood under the pack. And there it was. He goes wide. And out there, Amarante, also a contender for the Simpson medal.
Yes, he would be, wouldn't he? All their little men have stood up today, Trev.
They all have. Davies and Bilsich over there. This is Burrows. And Justin Sanders, he'd be my favourite at this stage. He went for a hand pass then. It came to Clayton Anderson. East Fremantle will be happy to hold the ball up a lot in this quarter one, which suggests Brendan Green boots towards centre half forward for Claremont. Sheldrick high. They've had no aerial strength in that position at all. Murillo takes the ball off the pack though, then goes by hand. Wardell Johnson goes back to Sheldrick, who made some space, and he should kick a goal for Claremont, their first since half time, and would you believe it? That's what happens, and those fellas there resign. There's Dale Kickett sitting in the box.
No, it wasn't a goal, youngster.
No. So the Tigers can do nothing right.
A long time, 12 months. He was here getting the Simpson medal last year for Claremont. Davies, what a good player he is. The half-back. And Morgan does a good job in the pack then. Now, Claremont, can you get a goal here? They can't buy a goal at the moment, Les.
No, they can't, TJ. As I said, one of the few times they've been able to break free with some good offensive handball, and then they couldn't finish the job off with a goal. But as I said, let's hope for the sake of the game that Claremont just keep having a dip. And as I said, if they do, funny things can happen.
Well, the pass has found Wardell Johnson, but he's still 50 metres out. 55 when he kicks. It'll take a good kick from there. Drop punts on the way. It is a good kick. Won't reach in the pack at the back. Morgan from 1 metre out puts it through for his second.
Well, a much needed goal obviously to the Claremont side, not just for the sake of the position of the game, but just for their own I suppose their own pride. And Morgan then saw the ball came in long. Wolf almost pulled down the mark. Morgan suddenly found the ball at his feet without even realising, turned around and was able to just snap it through. But as I said, certainly a much needed one for Claremont. And let's hope that Claremont now will just pick themselves up a bit and have a real dip now.
And Damien Condon there saying to Morgan, well, you're lucky to get that one, and we're going to make you earn any more you get. So 81 plays 32. 49-point margin to the Sharks. Was that high on Capewell? No, said the umpire. Umpire Scroop comes into bounce once again. It's Darren Capewell, who's faded after a terrific start, but one of those little men who's laid tackles all day, helped his teammates, supported. A disciplined team effort by the Sharks today. Justin Sanders wins that, but Leach scrambles it forward for Claremont. Into the air, Wardell Johnson. Coming, barging out there is Condon. Might have been lucky to not get penalised for holding the ball there. The ball finally comes back to Wardell Johnson from Brendan Green. Deep in the right full forward pocket. He goes to home. Terrific kick, but just offline. Unlucky from Wardell Johnson there.
Yeah, that was a sensational kick. Hard on the boundary there from that distance, Trev.
Just drifted off, didn't it, at the last second. So 48-point margin now as Barndon leads or takes possession of the football on the far side from the kick in by Davies. Boots towards half forward. Burrows from behind, but the front man Brayshaw playing his last game of league football today. Mark Brayshaw been terrifically successful for Claremont, and on that occasion no spoil from behind by Burrows. So the ball back to the half forward line for Claremont. And here's a free kick to Morgan coming into the game now. He goes for the lead of Edwards there and finds that player.
You sometimes wonder, Trevor, why Claremont weren't able to do this earlier on in the day. As I said, what they've done, they've been able to break free, get loose and find people. I thought Brayshaw, as I said, Brayshaw's effort in that third quarter was good as well. As I said, let's hope he finishes off his career with at least, as I said, a good last final effort. But Claremont, I just don't know quite what the answer is. I haven't been able to put my finger on it. More so to the East Fremantle credit of their tackling. It's got to be.
Well, Gary Edwards' kick is good. He's now playing at full forward. So Claremont have kicked 2 for the quarter. Ken Judge won't be actually counting his chickens yet. It's 12-9 to 5-9 now. Still a 7-goal margin.
Well, Trevor, as I said, funny things can happen in football. You just never know if you persist. And I'm sure East Fremantle now will realise the reason they are in front is because the way they have been tackling and getting to the ball first. And I'm sure Steve MALAXOS out in the centre there will be charging his troops up and saying, come on, guys, we've still got to finish this game off yet. We haven't got it won.
A little bit of change in the pattern there for the Tigers. And one just wonders.
Oh, there's a blood rule here, is it?
Here. Jamie Murillo it is, who's patched up and ready to go on. Or can the Tigers unleash a quarter of football that we've been waiting for all day? McManus to MALAXOS, run down there by Holmes. MALAXOS follows it up cleverly. He's been ridden very closely there by Edwards. In goes Jones underneath the pack, and the umpire will bounce on. There's Anthony Jones. It's inside centre half forward for the Sharks. They've barrelled it down there, courtesy of Steve MALAXOS. Harding's there, wins the tap cleverly to Lally. Good tackle by Wira. Could have been holding the ball then, Lally. Yes. Just let it go. Made no attempt to hand pass it away, and may have been a bit unlucky, lucky to get away with that. Croxford and Harding. Now Sam Cronje says, hang on fellas, give me some space.
He's going to bounce it on their boots.
Harding uses his body well and fists it towards the line. It's out of bounds alongside the behind post. So the Sharks have barrelled it down there, bustled it down there. Harding, good contributor. Again, Croxford in front. Harding tried to go over the top. Knocked away by Smith, taken by Leach. Hand pass to Wira. Partners in climb across the half-back line. They haven't been so dominant today, though. The kick towards half-forward. Up goes Morgan, knocked away from him by Condon. Condon goes back. Sheldrick kept out of it by Trelevin. Condon, good vision to Amaranti. Confronted by Holmes, he goes wide to Trelevin, who just chips towards the boundary. Stagg couldn't take the mark. Got time to recover, goes back to Trelevin. They're fitting around out there, the Sharks. Now the kick towards half-forward. And up they go. Burrows at the back, too tall for Brayshaw. And they find the safety of the white line, 60 metres out from goal, but still 7 goals the margin.
And we're 7.5 minutes into the quarter. Craig Burrows, 16 possessions. There'll be a lot of football where East Fremantle will just try and keep it down there now, one would suggest. This is Capewell. He eludes a tackler, then gets on the left boot, goes towards the goal square. Brad Smith thumped away. And Quentin Leach has been terrific for Claremont today, but really admired his game. And Brayshaw comes away with it. Gets it to Brendan Green, who has a couple of bounces, is trying to set something up for Claremont now. He's got towards right centre wing or forward of that position. He uses the ball well to Morgan. Off it goes to Scott Edwards. Claremont have got a good chance to score here as Scott Edwards finds Gary Edwards in the right full forward pocket.
Where have they been, Les?
That's right, Sergio. Where have they been? That's exactly the style of football that Claremont have been played for most of this year. And as I said, you've got to attribute it to East Fremantle's enormous effort to not allow their players to freewheel.
Gary Edwards from deep in the right full forward pocket, 40 metres. He's kicked one. He's kicked it across the face. He's kicked it out of bounds on the fall. So Wayne Barnden will bring the ball back into play. It's Gary Edwards, started on the interchange bench. Barnden kicks towards a 50-metre defensive line of pushing it back against Croxford, and the free kick will go to Justin Sanders. He kicks wide. Ken Judge would have instructed his players to play the flanks, I'm sure. Harding over the far side, shows good pace and agility, the big man. Boots towards half forward. Chance for Davidson. Sockers off the ground with his right boot, but brings up only one behind. And one thinks that if Paul Harding could play in 2 grand finals, he'd still be some chance of playing with the Eagles next week. In the meantime, 12-10 to 5-9 in favour of the Sharks.
More chance to play with the Doggers next year. Leach is marked at half-back, kicks to the members' side of the ground, and Edwards goes short. Claremont are running now. Gee, it's a big mountain to climb, isn't it? 7 goals still down. They'd need a flurry. They kick the centre half forward. Morgan's in the pack. So was Sheldrick. Pushed forward by Mitchell. Socket by Croxford into Morgan's, into Mitchell's head. Knocked on by the Tigers again. Anderson got a bad bounce. Knocks towards the boundary. Now this is Bilsich. Across his path there was Wardell Johnson. Edgar working in a confined space, taken by Murillo off Edgar's hands. The kick to the square. Gary Edwards. Oh, why didn't you go on? Well, he should kick a goal anyway. Goal mouth was open. It's been a different Claremont in this quarter so far. It's been good to see, Les, that they've picked up their bundle a bit anyway.
Yes, Trevor. As I said, hopefully, as I said, for the sake of the Claremont club, and I'm sure the players themselves, the players have pride in their performance. They know they've been outplayed for 3 quarters, and they are trying to do their best now to, as I said, finish the game off. And as I said, funny things could happen. I think time is against them.
Well, Edwards puts it through to kick his second. Now the margin, 82 plays 45.
37.
6 goals, 9 Claremont. They kicked 3 in this quarter. And I just wonder, Les, if they can't really make a game of this before the end of the day.
Well, as I said, strange things can happen. Jamie Murillo there persists to see Claremont then at least lock the ball in their forward line, something they haven't done a lot today, and that's why it's rebounded out far too easily. But well done to Gary Edwards to notch up his second goal there for the Claremont side.
Well, there's some tired East Fremantle players out there, not the least of which is this man, Justin Sanders, who will be going for the centre bounce down. And East Fremantle will just want to steady here. It's 11.5 minutes in. They kicked 5 in about 6 minutes late in the second quarter, so goals can be scored quickly in this modern game of football. Jamie Murillo, the hand pass away. Mitchell has had 2-3 bounces. He's going to go wide by hand to Wardell Johnson. He sets it up, Wardell Johnson. He's kicked truly, and now the Tigers are on a roll. And it's crisis time or crunch time for the Sharks.
Oh, as I said, Claremont, well done, Claremont again. Worked the ball out of the centre there with some good quick hands. Drew a player and then fed it over to Wardell Johnson, who's finished off with a goal. And here we go. We see it here. Mitchell just carrying the ball forward. He holds the ball, he holds, then delivers with a nice hand pass. Wardell Johnson able to be just steady.
Good
2
kick,
steps,
that ball,
bang, goal.
He's a good kick.
And Murillo, TJ, has been very important in getting the ball out of the centre against a very tired Steve MALAXOS.
Oh, there's some tired players out there now, Trev. And Claremont all of a sudden have found a spark that could make this very interesting yet. Croxford beaten by Sanders. Chance in the middle there for Leach, pushed out by the Tigers. Another chance for Murillo. MALAXOS, good tackle that time. Murillo, good second attempt. Scrambles at the half forward. Morgan, good use of the body. Got Edgar out of the way. It comes to Werra. Werra from 50 metres. Kicks towards full forward. Wolf! Wolf has taken the mark.
He's going to be on a tough angle.
Very, very acute angle, but he's taken the mark. He's in there somewhere. He might have been. He was almost buried then, Clint Wolf. He's paid the mark.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit. He's put the big mitt up here. It's fallen. Oh.
Yeah, it's hit post, I think.
Yeah, he had his back. The umpire obviously was blocked by the East Fremantle defender there, but we'll have a look at the angle.
He makes a bit of space, runs around, hits the post again. There may be some justice there, Trev.
That's where it was before, I'm sure.
If looks could kill.
I think the umpire might have, the post actually helped him hold onto the ball, didn't it? It was a pretty hard decision.
It was a great attempt.
It was.
Because he was working very close to that post. Treleaven kicks it to himself. Got the required distance into the air. Thumps it to half back. Holmes tried to use his body on Condon. He comes back well. But now MALAXOS is lending support. Kicks up along the white line. And the mark taken by Brayshaw.
As he chips the ball across. Oh, look for Croxford. Terrific interception by Paul Harding. He made up for his error when he was led to the ball. And now he bangs towards full forward. There's no height down there. Davidson will set. But working through his Chisholm. And he's at centre-half back. Uses the ball. Morgan all alone in the centre of the ground. There's some very loose defence now by East Fremantle. The Morgan kick is not good. MALAXOS will go wide. He finds his teammate out there, Amirandi. And there's the hand pass over the top to the running John Stagg. Diving attempt by Leach to lay the tackle. Terrific work, Lally. And he'll run on and kick his second. And that will be the the cellar. That will send the Pepsi Cup to Moss Street.
Give it a taxi, I think, Trev. You've had that down in Moss Street a couple of times already.
I'm sure Trevor could be quite right now. As I said, really the clock will work against Claremont. Unfortunate there, just two bad disposals by Claremont when they were edging the ball forward. East Fremantle...
Fatal mistake by Brayshaw, Les.
Yes, it was, and as I said, a good effort. Ball came down. Lally used his body well, actually, on his defender there. Spun around. No one in the goal square. Goal, and as I said, that's probably quite right, the sealer.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far just yet, but it certainly looks that way. Leach punches it forward. Croxford almost run down by MALAXOS. Got his kick in. Sheldrick. Good mark. 11 was his opponent. He juggled it nicely, and he chips into the gap. Murillo got away from Anderson, and now he'll shoot. So the quick reply could come here. And with only half the quarter gone, the battle-scarred Jamie Murillo. He needs to kick straight, and he has, I think. It's a goal. Full credit to Claremont the way they've come home here. The margin is now 30 points. Still a big mountain to get up, but by the same token, you've got to admire the way they've come back. They must be tired themselves, Les.
Yes, they would be. As I said, it was just unfortunate a moment ago that East Fremantle had to sneak that goal in because of a couple of poor kicks from the Claremont side. But Murillo, he has tried hard today. One of the few Claremont players that probably over the 4 quarters has done his bit. Finish off with a nice goal for himself and Claremont.
So East Fremantle want to get the ball forward here again. He left the exits open on the defensive side. Condon goes off the ground. It comes to Amirante. He'll feed back to Anderson. The stand kick. And that's what happens when you're not composed. He kicked it straight to Brad Wirra. Claremont have scored 3 goals for the game and 5 in this quarter. Leach marks in front of Bilsich. And Leach is in a more running role now. He's in the middle of the ground. As he goes towards centre-half forward, Morgan and Condon. Got rid of his opponent, Morgan. Goes towards full forward. Good spoil on that occasion against Gary Edwards. Spinning Treleaven, who showed good composure. Got it over to Craig Burrows. And it's East Fremantle out of trouble, but only as far as Leach went one-handed. This is Harding now. Inboard to MALAXOS. There's some tired bodies out there. Bilsich goes wide, but the run of Amirante is good. He got the ball down there for their last goal. Chance for Lally. Couldn't mark. Chisholm in there. Darryl Panizza on hands and knees. East Fremantle will be happy to see it stay down there, but Durkay screws it back. It's out of bounds first. It was out of bounds. So it'll stay in East Fremantle's forward zone. Or is Sam Cronje suggesting a free kick? Is he here?
Durkay got one across the head, I think.
Well, why wasn't that a relay free kick, Les Fong? Was it in the action of kicking?
It was in the action. He's come in late and hit him slightly high, and he's ended up, I think, almost colliding into the fence. And I'd say that's why Cronje's awarded the free kick.
Any score here will do for East Fremantle. They lead by 5 goals. We've played 18 minutes in the last quarter. The quarters tend to go about 27, 28 minutes. So Gary Durkay, who hasn't scored a goal today, or he scored 1 in fact, very deliberate with a kick from deep in the right full forward pocket. He's kicked up behind. In the context of this game, still could be a very valuable score.
Gary Durkay went pretty close there to kicking a miraculous goal. Crowd are roaring here as Panizza puts it back into play and finds Wirra. McManus on the mark. Brad Wirra from his own defensive 50 to the members' wing. Stagg up in front, knocked away by Sanders. Croxford and Harding go at it. Bodies go everywhere. The ball's buried underneath Sanders and Brad Smith for Claremont. He might be wearing the Simpson medal, Justin Sanders. Look at that. Full commitment of bodies. Sanders and Croxford, even Stevens. Harding tackled by Brayshaw. Comes back to Murillo. He's run down by MALAXOS. And again, the umpire will come in to bounce it down. And I think there's no doubt, Les, the clock now is going to be the enemy of Claremont.
Well, I suppose, TJ, to some extent, but as I said, East Fremantle's first 3 quarters really was so much better than Claremont that they justly deserved to win the 1994 premiership as you said, Claremont at least, pride in performance, has come back and trying to finish the game off.
Good fist forward there by Croxford. Well done, Brayshaw. Cross to Leach. He's been dynamic again today. Sandover medal runner-up. Goes to half forward. Draws Condon. Gives it to Morgan. Morgan chips over the top. Sheldrick will mark. He can go across to centre half forward. A little bit further than that to Wardell Johnson. But he elects to go back. And with 8 possessions to his name today, will shoot for Claremont's 9th goal. Sheldrick's kick is on the way. He's got it. Another goal to the Tigers. They really have come home full of steam, but I think the post might be too close.
Well, I'm sure Mark Riley there in picture would have said minimise the damage, hold your heads up after this last quarter. You probably can't win the game from 56 points down. But East Fremantle ringing the changes. MALAXOS has gone to half forward. Capel into the middle. Leach is doing good work for Claremont in the middle of the ground now. This is Bilsich for East Fremantle, but Scott Edwards will mark for Claremont. And away he goes. Peels off wide because this is Leach again. Capel's his opponent. No, he's got Capel's on Murillo. That, in fact, was Amaranti's opponent. And he kicks to Murillo, who beats Capel and labours behind him. Danger signs for East Fremantle. He goes towards full forward, but Burrows read it best. And he can go across the ground at 11. That's where he's got to go after he takes plenty of time to kick it. He goes short to Treleaven, and he can go further afield and draw the player, kicks it long. Getting across there, the numbers. Brendan Green, it falls. Hand pass. Back inboard it comes to Kelvin Holmes. Taps away. Overusing at Claremont now. They've got to boot the ball forward quickly because East Fremantle are out on their feet. It's just the spirit that's keeping them going. Finally, Paul Harding sees the ball over the line.
And remind me of a racehorse called Big Bob, East Fremantle.
Yes.
A long way in front, but getting very tired, Trev.
And he played for him, Big Bob, years ago, didn't he?
Too, didn't he?
So it's on the centre wing for East Fremantle. Justin Sanders. It comes down to Harding, who plays the rover and then kicks for touch. That's all he could call that. And he found it, but got the ball into the attacking zone. 22.5 minutes gone. They should hang on now, the Sharks. Reece Croxford. And Leach has been terrific for Claremont. Look at him go again. He got that tap from Croxford and away he goes. Look at the style of the balance. He gets to centre half forward. It's the last time you've seen him in a Claremont jumper for a while. He'll be in the Tigers jumpers, and Gary Edwards has marked.
That's a very good mark.
It's kick 2, Gary Edwards.
He's had a great last quarter, Les.
Yes, he has. A makeshift full forward due to the Claremont side having to shuffle it around, but it's worked. As I said, maybe earlier in the game some other moves needed to be tried to be made like that. Bringing Quinton Leach maybe up the ground, maybe bringing Jones up. As I said, it's easy to say in hindsight. But
so with a straight kick here, Claremont will still need 4 straight kicks to win it. Edwards has kicked his 3rd, and it's now 10-10-70 to 13-11-89, 23.5 minutes in.
Well, as I said, depending on how much time on there will be, obviously Claremont probably have still got just a slight chance, but as I said, I really feel that East Fremantle have outplayed them. But this Quinton Leach, yes, he has an outstanding game. He's been under enormous pressure on the half-back line with the way East Fremantle have been bringing the ball in, and he passed that well, and a strong mark to Gary Edwards, and it's his 3rd goal.
I tell you what, if Claremont do get up, we'll have to take Trevor Sprigg away on a stretcher. He will be out of bounds on the full. Great last quarter by the Tigers. Sharks are stopping in their tracks, but knocked on by Bilsich there to Sanders. He kicks towards full forward. Bad bounce for Davidson. Peniza follows it up. We're barging through. Tackle without it by Capewell. No free kick. Shoveled out towards McManus. Leach tried to grab him. McManus does very well there. Kicks towards full forward. Davidson knocked away by Peniza. Into the pocket and over the white line in front of Brad Smith for the Tigers.
7 for the quarter, Claremont. 3 for the game and 7 for the quarter.
Remarkable turnaround of this term. It really has been a grand final to remember. Harding tried to take clean possession. Capel on all 4s. Shovels it out. Brad Smith in control. Push it through the pack. Confronted by MALAXOS. He gets around him easily. Away he goes. But Durkay's got him. Great tackle. But he got it to Murillo just in time. The kick to half forward. Up they go. Condon. Gee, he's had a good game. Only flashes from Morgan today. As East Fremantle go out wide to Lally, on it goes to Stagg. Stagg runs to 50, kicks towards the square. Davidson in front, too far for him and Panizza. Back goes Jones, with him is Capewell, and they run it over again. 19 points the difference. It was 7 goals the difference at half-time, and the Tigers look gone for all money, but to their credit, they've come back so strongly in this last term, but time will beat them as Brendan Green runs it over for a force behind. And now 20 points the difference, but there's 26 minutes gone, and the Sharks will have the pennant for 1994.
Yeah, 28. Daryl Panizza kicks the ball into play. The veteran, will it be the last time we see him gracing the turf in Pepsi Cup footy? Anthony Jones marked and then kicked like a tired player. Murillo's just kept on going in the last quarter. It's been terrific for them. And the other player there, Quinton Leach, has Scott Edwards in there in actual fact. But that's all East Fremantle wanted there, to bring it to a standstill. And that was Lally, Stephen Lally, who I recall missing out in the 1992 grand final. So high goes Justin Sanders. Bring it to a standstill once again, and you're going to hear a big roar here. It's a real Sharks house today.
You must have brought all your family, did you?
Yeah, I think so. Scott Edwards away for Claremont, boots towards half forward. Morgan, grab when not in possession by Condon, but the advantage wasn't with Wardell Johnson there. So Morgan goes through the field to Holmes. He can go over the top to Sheldrick. Trelevin cribbed over the mark just enough to allow Lally to get back. The kick short. Gary Edwards, was he interfered with? No, says the umpire. This is Clinton Wolf out on his feet. That's holding the ball, umpire. He didn't try and get rid of it, but the umpire was gratuitous. There it is, trying to palm off the tackle.
That's tremendous by Stephen Lally.
It was.
Wolf's 3 times his size, and he's just stood there and held that ball into him. That was outstanding and typical East Fremantle football today. That's tremendous stuff by Lally. Burrows clears it out of the danger zone. McManus and Edwards wrestling. Croxford and Sanders coming in. Croxford wanted the boundary and found it. 20 points the difference. The Sharks are home in a grand final that'll be long remembered. And with the Dockers coming in next year, it may even be the end of an era as far as the WAFL is concerned. But I'll long remember this grand final. Lally across his body. Capewell in front. Jones misses the mark at the back. Coming strongly through, the veteran, Stevie MALAXOS. Harding's half pass was smothered. We're out, couldn't get his kick in. Good tackle by Capewell. Vilsic to Harding. Almost run down by Leach at the top of the square. Knocked away by Chisholm into the path of Amirandi. He's tackled, but the kick lands with Stagg, not far enough. Durkay loses his footing at the vital moment. Panizza gets a kick out, back to Stagg. Stagg escapes the tackle of Chisholm. Snaps and goals! No, he doesn't. Run behind.
Would certainly have been a nice finish for East Fremantle for Stagg to have kicked at us. As I said, they've worked the ball down the field bit by bit. As I said, been outplayed this last quarter, but did enough early in the game to justify their rewards very shortly.
Panizza puts it back into play. Good kick. Brayshaw the flyer. Pair of 44s out there. Not Gallen drums either. Knocked onto Amirandi, but the whistle has sounded. Amirandi's kick is okay. There it is! I think the behind may stand, or will it? East Fremantle players are ecstatic. No, the behind won't count. It's 13-13-91 to 10-10-70. The Sharks have won the 1994 grand final, and they are jubilant, Les Fong. Despondency for Claremont Tigers. That man will leave Claremont with fond memories, though, as he goes to Fremantle as their financial advisor. Triumphant coach Kenny Judge, and I think I saw a smile.
Yes, we finally did it. He hasn't smiled all day, but congratulations to East Fremantle and coach Ken Judge and the players from East Fremantle. I said they thoroughly deserved their win. I thought their attitude of being first to the ball, their tackling, their pressure that they applied on Claremont did not allow Claremont to play their normal game, as I said, and to their credit, they were able to get goals themselves. They broke away halfway through that second quarter and really didn't look back from that moment, TJ.
Ken Judge congratulates Andrew Lockyer. A great moment for the veteran Andrew Lockyer. Quentin Leach tried so hard today for the Tigers. We'll leave that jubilation there and go to Quentin Leach and John Anea.
Thanks a lot, Trev. Look, I've got Quentin Leach with you at the moment. Quentin, I know it's very hard what the appropriate thing to say after a grand final, but you at least have to be satisfied with that last quarter.
Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't play that well in the first week, but in the grand final you can't really give a team that much of a head start.
What did Bomber Riley say at three-quarter time? Was there anything specifically he said to you? Or?
I mean, he wasn't too happy with our performance. He just said, let's at least finish it off, do something. Break the colours, really,
Sure. Well, I think you've done your club proud, mate, and your coaches, the way things finished off.
Yeah, at least we, finished off the way we did.
Sure. Look, mate, I thought you played really well for the whole game, not just in the last quarter, and really whatever you decide to do next year, wish you all the very best. Thanks a lot, John. Yep, no worries.
Quentin Leach obviously very disappointed, but Ken Judge is absolutely over the moon. The beaten coach, Mark Riley, certainly got a good sample of what grand final football is all about today. But as we've mentioned, to the Claremont credit, they've come back very strongly. The official presentations will take place shortly as John Anea makes his way over towards the triumphant camp. Well, the picture tells the story, doesn't it? An East Fremantle house here today, and they've really cheered long and hard for their blue and whites. Winners in 1992, and now the 28th premiership in 1994.
See, that back-to-back hoodoo still haunts Claremont, doesn't it, TJ? They've been very strong, but just can't get the back-to-back.
Yes, TJ, I've certainly sung East Fremantle's praises, and it's nice to see the East Fremantle reserves coming out to congratulate the league side.
Yes, it's a big double today. They won the reserves earlier this afternoon, and that was back-to-back. As Mark Amaranti now, who kicked 4 goals today, is with John Anea.
Thanks a lot, Trev. Look, I've got a very happy group of men behind me. Mark, Claremont gave you a bit of fright in that last quarter.
Yeah, I think we might have just thought it was over a bit and relaxed through the middle. They got a couple out of the middle and give us a few headaches.
Yeah, you think the last couple of weeks with the head-outs have just sort of ran out of legs in the last quarter?
Yeah, a touch, but then I thought, in the first 3 quarters we might have match hardness, and they looked a bit underdone, one game in 4 weeks. But I suppose, we did run out of the lead.
I think we better swap you guys after that second quarter. That was really a magnificent setup for the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're just trying to take it quarter by quarter and win like 4 quarters. And we won the first 2, and then we won the third, and then we just tried to win the 4th, and we just sort of, straight through here.
It appeared Judgy had you guys manning up the players. There was an incident there where the guy you were on left the field and you had to sort of follow him and spend like a moment behind the boundary before you went back on. Was that sort of the plan for the day?
No, I think the runner sort of got a bit stuffed a bit there. Snuffy, you got a bit excited, I think. I see many messages at the one time.
Yeah, well, look, I thought you played very well, mate, especially 4 goals and be a great sort of effort on a grand final.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's probably my last game today, and to win 2 premiership medals, I'm really happy with that.
That's great, Mark, and well done.
Thanks a lot, John.
Yep.
There's the winning coach, Kenny Judge, and the captain, Steve MALAXOS, congratulated by the chairman, Dr. Peter Tannock. What a proud moment it must be for this pair, Trev.
Yes, indeed, and Steve MALAXOS' career may be in some jeopardy. Maybe he'll finish as well, but he's pretty happy with that.
Steve MALAXOS,
and he'd have to be.
Captain, respectively. Let's get a comment from each, Ken.
What a bonus he's been for the Sharks, Steve MALAXOS.
Claremont on the game today. People probably don't realise how tough it was for us. I've had to try and convince my guys all week that we could last a game out. When you look at the facts of the matter is that we've done, I suppose, something similar to what sides do coming from an elimination final. We've had to play 4 finals to win it. I know the boys were absolutely shot in the end, and it was just a matter that we sort of got far enough in front and they hung on, and that's a credit to their character. But to Claremont, I must say they were certainly coming home fairly fast, and to those guys, bad luck, but I must say we're fairly happy about it. Thank you.
Stay with us, Ken, because we've got the Pepsi Cup coming up. But a comment from Steve MALAXOS. Congratulations, Steve.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, once again, well done to everyone associated with our club. We worked really hard for it, long time. Commiserations to Claremont. They've been the standard setter in the WAFL for a number of years now, and I suppose if you keep on playing in grand finals, You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. They're on the wrong end of the stick today, but they've been a terrific club over a number of years. And so have East Fremantle, and to all the boys are fantastic today. Thank you.
Yes, he's been on both sides of the camp, hasn't he, Steve MALAXOS? As we're about to see the official medal presentations for the players, the jubilant East Fremantle side. Here's Andrew Lockyer. He's always first in the queue, Andrew, isn't he?
Thank you very much. It's been a great couple of days for West Australian football.
Get early, Andrew.
Perhaps he's very proud to be associated with West Australian fishing.
Well, there's no doubt who they were following today. And
what about the Simpson medal, TJ? We reckon Justin Sanders. I reckon Mark Amirante.
You reckon Amirante? I reckon Quentin Leach would be a chance. Which way do you go?
Not in a beaten side, I wouldn't think. It'll go to a winning side.
You think so?
Yeah, I think probably Sanders, between Sanders and maybe even Condon. As I said, he really did a great job, didn't he, as well.
A proud moment for the Sharks. The 1994 Pepsi Cup goes to East Fremantle. Ken Judge and Steve MALAXOS, proud holders of a trophy that is so hard to win. As the Sharks break into their club song, the goosebumps stand up on the back of Trevor Sprigg's neck, and on the back of Damien Condon's neck, maybe a young Condon.
Thank you once again, Jonathan Cole. Thanks, Pepsi. Ken, I'll hand over to you.
Look out, Ken.
To present these medallions coming up, and they'll be, if you could bring them out.
Well, they lived up to their name today, didn't they? The Sharks, the vanquished, can only sit back and wonder what happened today. They certainly were shell-shocked at three-quarter time, but a great last quarter where they kicked 7 goals certainly put some respectability into their scoreline and showed just what a good club they are. But this was the winning combination today. Damien Condon's got his medal, and he set the pattern, I think, for the Sharks today.
Even before the ball was bounced,
yes,
TJ.
He did. And that's what's needed in grand finals. Chris Pobjoy did his job, but he went off injured. He's been a tireless worker for East Fremantle. Underrated player, Les.
Very much so, TJ. Yes, his performance today was terrific, as it was last week. And it was disappointing to see him hurt his groin and have to leave the field, but it made sure he helped put his team in a winning position at that time.
Darren Capewell proudly got his medal. Claremont are not going to stay and watch this, which I don't think's the way it should be, but it's their prerogative to leave the ground if they want to, I suppose. Happy
He's a good little player, Clayton Anderson, isn't he?
Yes, he's a very good tagger indeed. Jeff Davidson. Solid effort today.
And he was good across half-back today too, Les, wasn't he? Particularly in the second and third quarters.
You're right, after his game last week, where he absolutely dominated, he wasn't called on as much today to do as much, but what he did well, as did all the East Fremantle players for that matter.
Exciting player, Gary Durkay, did enough today. You'll hear more about him in the future, Gary Durkay, and you'll hear a lot about this man, SHAUN McManus.
The Dockers would have been happy today, TJ, with McManus and Leach playing so very well.
Licking their lips with those two. Well, this little man has got enormous courage and a lot of talent. Some say that he may win the Simpson medal today, Mark Amirante. If it is his last game, what a way to go out that would be.
And Davies along with Anderson, yes.
Did you think he played well?
Terrific performance from Davies.
Bilsich kicked goals when they mattered. And he's been a very good player for East Fremantle this year. Stephen Edgar not always in the action today. He's been carrying a bad thumb injury. Barndon, one of the developing players for the Sharks. Good to see the crowd staying behind for the medal presentations. And it really has been a very good grand final. And the Dockers would also be pleased with his performance today. Came back well after being beaten in the preliminary final.
Jonathan Stagg has really emerged, hasn't he,
Yes.
over this final series?
Prendergast medal winner from Monday night in the reserves. Great cheers here for a veteran. Outstanding AFL player. Back with the Sharks for most of this season. Really has been probably one of the big differences to why the Sharks have gone on at the business end of the season.
You reckon that was a big cheer? Wait till you hear the one for Justin Sanders. That's Paul Abbott.
It's not a great way to finish a game, but he's had a pretty good year.
There it is.
Justin Sanders gets his premiership medal. He'll wear that very proudly. Andrew Lockyer, as Jonathan Stagg looks on. Andrew Lockyer pleased with his effort today. And last, cab off the rank, but the leader of the Sharks, he leads them to those little shoals of fish. Stevie MALAXOS, Damien Condon, and now Kenny Judge, WA's top coach of 1994. I really do like his approach to footy. Some proud boys down there, Trev.
Yes, terrific. And there's a good shot. It's what they played for all year.
Now we're just waiting for the Simpson medalist to be announced. And that should be
one of those two, I reckon.
You could be right. One of those two in picture there.
Stand by. We've got the Simpson medal coming up.
It's an honour to be here on behalf of the Simpson family. It's our 49th year of presenting a medal at a West Australian Grand Final. And in a game like this, with so many wonderful individual performances, it was hard to select a winner. However, the judges, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that the best player was Mark Amirante, number 5.
Paul Simpson announces Mark Amirante as the Simpson medalist for the 1994 Grand Final. And if it is his last game, what a way to bow out, Les.
Oh, tremendous effort. As I said, he did a great job in taking Clem out of the game initially, and then out of that, because Clem was moved to the midfield, gave Amirante a chance to slot into a couple of holes. He ended up with 4 goals. With a great job.
Thank you to the Simpson family for the medal. Good stuff for words there. To everyone that rode us off again this year, and I think that's proved to the 20 guys behind me and the support staff we've had, the character that East Fremantle Football Club, it's come through again, and I couldn't be happier than with these blokes behind me. Thanks very much.
Well done, Mark.
Mark Amirante, the 1994 Simpson medalist, leaves in a real blaze of glory. Congratulated there by Glenn Davies, as 3 cheers for the Sharks. Well done, East Fremantle. Steve MALAXOS now with John Anea.
Thanks a lot, Trev. Well, Stab, a great effort there, especially with Claremont coming back at the very last quarter.
Yeah, the boys really went hard for 3 quarters, and I suppose, you know, sooner or later you just can't keep going at that tempo, and Claremont probably had a little bit left in the tank, and they came home hard.
Well, you've joined some illustrious clubs this year, Stab. Margaret River and Gabmelling have both taken off premierships, and now East Fremantle.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know that, John. But no, it was a good win, and I'd like to send a cheerio to a good friend of mine who's sick in hospital in Broome, George Till. So he gave me a good luck message before the game.
Oh, that's fantastic. People, look, have a good night, and I'm sure East Fremantle will be taking a few days out.
Yeah, we certainly will. Joining.
A very happy man, Steve MALAXOS there with John Anea, and now the Simpson medalist with John Anea.
Well, Mark, back again. Well, you mentioned before that you might be playing again with all these medals around the neck. Do you think that might change your mind?
No, I think the wife's put the foot down, mate. The boots might go in the river tonight.
Is that right? Well, how about giving her one of the medals and see if they can swing her arm around or convert into a ring?
Yeah, well, I'll try and work something.
Good on you. Well done. As I said before, we thought from the commentary, we thought you played a magnificent game, and well done.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, I think the seconds you guys had a big night, huh?
Yeah, could be a few noisy places down in Fremantle tonight, I think.
Want to take a week off work?
Well, yeah, I'll be
I'll have a word with your boss right now. Look, if Mark Rambaranti's boss, give this guy a week off, and the rest of them. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks a lot to John and Ian. And John, you've got 5 months off. That's good news for you. Mark Amaranti, the Simpson medalist, the victorious East Fremantle Sharks. Stephen Bilsich leads his pack of Sharks for a victory run around the ground. And very, very jubilant out there. Must be a great feeling to win the grand final like that.
Well, there was a lot of pressure on them, TJ, wasn't there? There was thoughts about that media ban before the second semi-final. It might have rebounded on them and so on. But, you know, remember a couple of years ago, and they said too old, too slow, too good. Well, there's something about East Fremantle. When they have adversity and people close in on them, they close ranks and come back really well.
Yeah.
They did that again today.
They certainly do.
Have to agree with that, Trevor. As I said, certainly the better side on the day, no question about that, and justifully really deserve, as I said, to be able to do this lap run. And look at that flag. As I said, fortunately, not many players always get the opportunity to experience what it's like to win a grand final. Those guys out there have, and they'll treasure that for the rest of their lives.
Poor old Chris Pobjoy there struggling to walk, isn't he, and Andrew Lockyer, but they'll put the pain behind them. They've got a bit of time to get over it.
There'll be a few sore spots tonight, but as you say, that'll quickly disappear when they have a close look at that Pepsi Cup and another pin and flag to fly down there. 28 flags they've got now.
They had a few
almost had their own armada, couldn't they?
Yes.
Andrew Lockyer.
I think there'll be more sore heads tomorrow down there, I would think, Trevor. Would that be right, mate?
I reckon
Certainly
so.
the future of quite a few of those players, though, would be in doubt. A few of the veterans.
And he did a big job, didn't he, Harding? If they hadn't have had Harding in the latter part of the season, they probably wouldn't be here now.
No, I thought he'd be a very key factor in this game today, and he was just that. 13-13-91 to 10-10-70 as the Sharks continue to celebrate here at Subiaco Oval. And that winds down, of course, our season for 1994. The Sharks defeating the Tigers by 21 points in a memorable grand final, as it was in 1964 when these two sides met, when Claremont were the victors in a grand final. They took